I'm in the field, 2-minute drill, highlight reel, let's review, what's the deal, okay? Watching footage going out of control, buckle up, we got an hour to go, so let's go, that's straight heat. Ain't no chillin' around here, back that back, Nat Chance, how we feelin' around here? Got my whole squad in the building around here. If my name ain't on it, then I really don't care. Come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. The G on the beat, hey. Yeah.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? Really like that. You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Make me more of like an independent person. Like, no, you have to ask for the cookie. Because I would, anytime you go up in the bakery, like it's like you had to ask the baker, like, can I get a free cookie? So,
yeah, I mean, always snagging a free cookie for sure. Not as much today, definitely.
Dude, I thought I was cheating the system.
The one thing I did always do as a kid is the coupon machines in the aisles. You just go and snag a coupon and you hand it to your mom and be like, look, Mom, I got you 10 cents off some saltine crackers.
Like, we don't need that. You have 3 of these already. Just like a handful, like thinking you're helping the family. It's really, they're just like,
I'm saving us so much money.
Stop it.
Now they don't get those anymore. Not even in the stores anymore. But
sad.
Something fun to do. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. There's your random rant for the day. I know that maybe some people weren't a huge fan of yesterday's, so maybe this one was better. But we got a loaded show for you guys today here in the MBR Hour. We got a litany of topics. You know, yesterday we had just one major topic that took up a big chunk of the show, telling you why your favorite team might not win a national title this upcoming season. Today, it's a little more staggered. We're going to be talking about how college football, or spending in college football, isn't slowing down anytime soon. There's a take around Indiana's culture right now that might be indicating potentially why they're already falling off after just winning a national title a couple of months ago. The NFL is poaching, Christian.
Oh, they are?
They're poaching refs. So we're going to talk about that, how that affects college football. You know, it's already a big topic about how refs are screwing up games and all those good things. So it continues to be a big talking point in football. We have a new college football playoff committee member. And it's a very familiar name. I'm sure most of you already know who it is. A very famous or a very viral moment happened today in the football world. It didn't happen at a huge college football campus, but it happened in college football, and a lot of people are talking about it. We're going to give you guys his takes on a practice video we saw. And then Auburn is doing something interesting, I would label it as, in their practice period. And so we're also going to hit on that. But first, I do want to talk about I want to talk about this article from The Athletic that's discussing how, hey, we know what college football is right now. We know what the spending rate is. We know how much teams are spending, what it takes for you to have a really good roster. Everybody talks about having a $40 million roster or the $20.5 million, like whatever number it is. There's a whole lot of spending going on in college football. And The Athletic did an article discussing how it's not going to slow down anytime soon. In fact, the article, this comes from Antonio Morales, by the way, with The Athletic. This is an SEC head coach saying this. The article starts with this. The new number in our sport right now is $40 million. Oh. That's for the 26 season. What's it going to be for the 27 season? I don't know. I think if you're at $40 million this year, I bet you'll be at $45 million next year. So, again, we're talking about how it just is steps up a hill every single time. Like, yeah, you may have spent $40 million this year to win a national title, but next year it's going to cost you $45 million. Or the roster that you had this year is going to be an extra $5 million for you to obtain that roster next year. These levels just keep going up. There's some other interesting quotes in this as well. This one was probably the most intriguing one, in my opinion. This comes from a Pac-12 assistant coach, and he discussed how losing is actually more expensive than winning. And, that, like, off the cuff, you think, that doesn't make any sense because if you want to win football games, you got to spend more money. Like, that's kind of what we correlate winning with in college football now. So if you're losing games, you're probably not spending that much. But he puts it as this: losing is the most expensive element of our sport. Winning is far less expensive than losing. Losing, there's no return on investment. Winning is huge. I guess my question on that, though, is like, your return on investment is winning games, but there's not like a direct return on investment. Like, you're not making that money back necessarily.
That feels, and that's a Pac-12 coach, you said?
Assistant coach.
That feels extremely gross to be talking. As a coach, you should never be talking about return on investment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this is where I get with the issue of, and we see this in baseball already, where private equity is basically taking over and they're cutting corners now. On the flip side of that, it seems to be private equity in baseball, losing is more efficient and less costly than winning is. But when you start thinking about numbers and things like that as a coach and what's the return on investment and what's most cost efficient for us, like, you're losing the soul of this sport. And I think that's what the grossness of this all is where, we have to find ways to make money and bring in as many dollars as we can because that incorporates wins for us. At the very least, that's good, where more money means more wins, and where necessarily it's not just a bunch of greedy, private equity trying to find ways to make money. But at some point, like, what we've lost what college football is in a large landscape.
Yeah, as soon as you start, and I'm sure that prior to like spending being legal in college football, I put that in air quotes, like before it was even legal, I'm sure that there was discussions about getting your return on investment in some of these players, because let's be real, college players are being paid before this. But I would also say that I don't necessarily agree with this all that much. Now, it makes complete sense for, like, say you're Penn State last year. I don't know how much Penn State's roster was last year, but I would bet you it wasn't cheap with the number of returning players that they had. They had Drew Aller, who would have been an expensive quarterback in last year's market, because I'm sure there were a lot of teams calling, trying to get him out of Penn State, all of these things. And then you go and have the season that you did. I understand that. Losing was super expensive for Penn State last year. But I don't necessarily understand it, because there's not a direct correlation, like you're actually getting a return on your investment. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean,
it's not like a business where if you make an investment here, you have a chance to double that money later on down the road.
That's what that bothers me the most about all this. And I get it. Like, at the end of the day, college football is a business. It is meant to bring in money for the university. But I feel like 15 years ago, the point of college football was to have pride for your school, to compete for national championships, to win national championships. And yes, that is still the overarching reason for that, and making the college football playoff is still more important. But when you start throwing in the dollar signs and how are we affecting the bottom line here and how does winning and losing change things, you've lost me at the point of what this sport is. Like, save that for the NFL, save that for the like professional leagues. And I understand that college athletics at this point is a professional league, but again, the soul of college football is stripped away by this.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the professional league. I know you didn't mention the NFL, but this article does, and it talks about how college football is closely resembling how the NFL works, and so much so that even the market of players, it's starting to resemble of that. I'm going to read you a couple of paragraphs here, but I think it's really important, so I don't mean to read too much, but I do think it's important to read all of this information. It says, that's not to mention that college football is resembling the NFL more and more each day, even though that's a turnoff for some. In the NFL, players reset the market all the time. Seattle's Jackson Smith and Jigba just became the highest paid receiver in the NFL with a 4-year, $168 million extension. The Rams trade Trent McDuffie, the highest paid corner in the league, earlier this month. It feels like a different quarterback resets the market at the position every offseason. It would be foolish not to expect the same to happen in college football. Nika Iamaleava made a major commotion when he signed an NIL deal with Tennessee that could have paid him more than $8 million by the end of his junior year. Now high-end transfer quarterbacks are earning more than $4 million per season. Then it goes on to break down Jordan Seaton's contract, the tackle that transferred from Colorado to LSU, how he's making anywhere between $2 million and $3 million. But here's the interesting part. This comes from a Big Ten personnel staffer. Our joking motto is double it, which is what we say every cycle. It's like whatever you hear, double it. That's just what it's going to end up being for a lot of these kids. Whatever we end up paying for this type of kid, next cycle you're going to have to double it. Trying to compare it to what it is even a year ago at this time is completely different.
I mean, there's no denying that we're in some form of a college football player bubble right now, and that, Like, look, Trinidad Chambliss is a fantastic quarterback. There's a lot of fantastic players in college football right now. I don't think there's a world where a SEC starter should be making more than a NFL player. That's just the world we're in. I think that the college athletics and college football players are overvalued. I could be completely misevaluating that. I could be completely wrong in this aspect, but it seems like the inflation of the college athlete has come rather rapidly, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. At what point you have to just wonder when programs are going to start tapping out? Like, we're kind of already seeing that. Like, you see donor fatigue, you see things like that. At what point are we going to reach the ceiling where everyone just goes, all right, look, we can't give these guys any more money?
I mean, I see it all the time now with, like, it seems like you can't go to any event in college athletics. Like, this isn't even just college football. This is like you go to your favorite college town to catch a baseball game, a basketball game, a softball game, whatever it is. A hand is being placed out asking for you to give more money to whatever it is. I see jokes all the time about just put a big QR code in the middle of the field because that's essentially what it is. Like, you guys want more money? Well, just make the midfield logo a QR code for us to go donate more money, because it seems like every turn you make, it's just them asking for more and more money. And now you're getting into this conversation with just football, by the way. This isn't involving any other, or this article doesn't include any other sport in college, about how teams are going from, all right, $40 million this year, next year it's $45 million. Well, what's stopping it from going to $50 million the next year? Like, how far are we going to make it before we do see things like what the chat's talking about, where it kind of plateaus, things kind of calm down a little bit? Like, we're supposed to have this cap space, but we don't actually have it. I think even in this article it mentions, we're supposed to have this spending limit, but nobody cares. Nobody's responding to that. Nobody's actually paying attention to it. It's just spend whatever money you want. In fact, I thought this last quote in the article was really funny. As someone who is an Atlanta Braves fan, it says, "You're spending money, but you still have to spend money on the right guys," a Big 12 assistant coach said. "The Dodgers spend a ton of money, but they can also spend it on the wrong guys, and then you're the New York Mets."
Ah, nice little Mets dig there.
Yeah,
nice.
For sure. But and then another quote in here talks about how part of the reason why this is happening is because everybody thinks they're better than what they actually are. Like, everybody thinks they're better than everybody else. So, for example, the article mentions how Jordan Seaton this year got $2 million, in between $2 million and $3 million, and he's the top tackle in the transfer portal class this year. Well, next year's transfer portal top tackle prospect is probably going to think, well, I'm better than Jordan Seaton, and he got $2.5 million. I should be getting $3.5 million. So this is where you're seeing these salaries for all these football programs just slowly continue to creep up further and further and further. So really, I just thought the article was interesting of, like, we question all the time, like, the direction that college football is heading and where's the end. Do we see the light at the end of the tunnel? And this article indicates, like, it's only going to get worse. Only more money is going to continue to be spent. And it has to do with the players, has to do with the coaches, has to do with everybody. It's not just one particular party involved.
Yeah, the only way this stops is a Super League where there's an actual body that can enforce what's going on right now. Because we've seen and this is a topic we've talked about numerous times before, the NCAA is consistently getting its ass kicked in court to the point where being able to enforce 132 schools that have 3 to 4 major collegiate programs, that how much they can spend on certain what and policing that is impossible. So you're going to have to find a way to get the major schools to break away to a Super League, and then there will be some body, some college football commissioner that we all make jokes about, that will enforce these things, and there will be a board of trustees that will then come down and create these sanctions, and there'll be a whole mess of, is the college athletics profile even connected to the school anymore, and all of this jumbled mess. So that's the future of college athletics. But until then, things are just going to continue getting more expensive. Players are going to continue getting pricier. The transfer portal is not going to be stopped. Tampering won't be stopped. And I hate to paint the doom and gloom story, but that's the realistic facts of it.
Yeah, so I don't want to harp on this too long, because I know that, especially in the offseason, when it feels like these are the most important things to talk about, it seems like it just gets redundant, and then it kind of reminds you about all the things that you don't currently like about college football. So I know as a listener at times we can really get bogged down in that, and you can be like, just shut up already. I just want to talk about next season. We know the deal is college football is a messed up world right now, and it's not completely entirely something that we like at the moment. So I don't want to harp on that too long. So we'll go ahead and transition to some other topics. And if you haven't caught on already, if you missed yesterday's show, yes, Brooks is not here. It's just me and Kirby. Will be me and Kirby for the rest of the week, which means tonight and then also Thursday night when we do our live show. Then he's continuing his football pilgrimage. So it's just me and Christian for tonight. So hopefully you stick with us, have some fun, share some laughs, and continue to build upon that ball knowledge. So we had this on the show sheet yesterday, Christian, of Aaron Murray had a very interesting take and went ahead, stamped his flag on this one. I don't know if anybody else is going to be joining him on this one yet, but that's also kind of some of the brilliancy of it at the same time as well. If you haven't seen it, Aaron Murray released this video and he did the whole green screen thing where it's got his face talking, and then behind him is an article talking about how Kirk Cignetti had to get on one of his transfers, Nick Marsh, for wearing gold cleats at practice. And that leads Murray to go on this tangent about how the culture is already starting to crumble at Indiana, and this was the backbone of their team last year where they do everything right. They do things differently. They're no flash. Like, everything's business here, and now it's already starting to crumble. And went as far as to say as they won't win another national title.
Now, to his credit, he also does the kind of the brilliant thing that you do in sports media where something is so far out that you give the take, but you also give it's going to be interesting to see if they can turn this around before the season comes. Because then say Indiana does win another title this year, you can point back to it and Aaron Murray goes, well, they address these issues. Kirk Cignetti really is that good of a coach. But no, it was interesting to see how, Aaron Murray pointed to this and it kind of said this is the reason why Indiana won't win, because the culture is eroding and all those things. And we've all kind of agreed that it's not going to be what it was last year. It's impossible to go 16-0 when you have lost that much talent, you've lost that much. But I think the gold cleats being the reason that's hammered home is kind of an interesting take. But I'm here for it because, say Indiana goes 6-6 this year. Say they just have an abysmal year. Say Josh Hoover doesn't work out. Aaron Murray's going to have something to parade around because back in March he was talking about how, hey, the gold cleats was the first indicator. So I like the shot from Murray.
Every single time I hear a coach talking about what one of his players was wearing, how that's not how we do things here, I can't help but always think of the Coastal Carolina David Bennett clip. Like that way,
meows.
Yeah, we need more dogs. I got my extra bands on. Do I got my extra shoes on? We need dogs. And that's the clip I think of. And like, obviously Kirk Cignetti isn't going to do that type of rant, but that's what I think of because, yes, like every team, like for me, like in high school basketball, one of my coaches was like, you don't wear sleeves, you don't wear anything, you just wear the jersey that we give you, and that's it. And like, so like some coaches, it matters a whole lot more than others. Ultimately, doesn't probably impact how you play on the field whatsoever. But no. I completely understand it from trying to establish a culture and making sure that, everybody looks the same and everybody acts the same. But I don't think it's going to be the root reason as to why Indiana potentially never wins another national title.
No, yeah. I mean, and it's one of these things where it gets a little bit overplayed. Like, it's respected and loved when it results in wins. Like, everyone talks about the Saban way. Everyone talks about the Belichick way, as long as those guys won titles. Dabo Swinney was championed and congratulated for his, hey, no transfers rule. We having our own evaluations with our culture, and that worked out, and it was 2 titles, and everyone's like, Dabo Swinney's figured it out, guys. We know how that's gone now. Now that very thing that he's being championed for is a negative viewed as that. So I think this very well could be something similar for Indiana. I'm not predicting that Indiana falls off a cliff, but if Kirk Cignetti starts popping 8-4s and 7-5s, people are going to start going, well, it's because he cares too much about what the players are wearing. He needs to actually focus on the X's and O's.
So I wanted to ask this. Since Murray proposed this hypothetical world where Indiana doesn't win another, which could very well happen. It's not weird for a team to win a national title, then you go 20 or 30 years without winning a national title, especially for a program like Indiana who doesn't have this long history of winning national titles, like a rich history of college football behind them anyways. Like if you were to tell me in 30 years Indiana doesn't have another one, I don't think anybody's going to look at you super cross-eyed or anything like that. But I did want to ask, like, as an Indiana fan, would you be okay if that happened?
Yeah.
I would think so too. Like, it seems like an easy answer. Like, but once you get a taste of it, and this is super interesting too because we haven't had an instance like this where it just happens so fast. Mm-hmm. It happens so quickly where a fan base got to, and I know that you guys went through a long line of suffering, but let's also be real. There's a whole lot of Indiana fans last year that started tuning into college football and really started paying attention either the year before or last year. I know that not all of you guys were tapped in during the doom and gloom days. So for those types of fans. Like, say you're a 9-year-old kid. Like, this is your first introduction of Indiana football. And so it's like, we won a national title. We're so good. We got one of the best head coaches in college football. Are you okay if you don't win another one?
You're definitely bothered by it, but I think, like, there's a means as to what your team is. Like, there are averages if you look at the long, zoom out and look at the long charts of Indiana is not traditionally a winning program. Now, maybe Curt Cignetti has turned that around and they're going to be great for the next 15, 20 years. I would assume that Curt Cignetti, after he leaves, whenever that might come, Indiana probably regresses to a team that it was once. And, 7-5, 8-4 is commendable at that. But you start looking at that and go, okay, this is what Indiana football probably was at this time. So I don't think that you should be upset by that. I think the expectation's fair. Curt Cignetti's proved that you should be that. But I'm not on the impression that Indiana fans would be as mad as Alabama fans or Georgia fans or Ohio State fans or Michigan fans or Texas fans if it was another 30 years without them winning a title.
Yeah, I think eventually we'll just get back to, like, I don't think that Indiana's going to all of a sudden fall off a cliff, especially under Curt Cignetti. But I do think that, and, like, this is the other thing to like, talk about with Indiana, too, with the run that they have. Like, how far does the success now continue to carry them? Like, even past Curt Cignetti, like, did this completely change the program? So, like, when Curt leaves, how is this job viewed amongst others? Like, is it considered now one of these top jobs? Because now you got Mark Cuban backing it up, and you got all these people that want to fund it, and you got more money pouring in now than ever. Like, how much does this national title actually change things for, like, the long-term Indiana Hoosier football program? Like, not now, and not, like, just during Curt Cignetti's time as a head coach there, but, like, 20 years from now, like, is this the reason why they remain as one of the top teams in college football? I don't know. That's the other thing we don't know, because as we just mentioned, like, spending changes so quickly, and a couple bad seasons, and maybe it uproots all your funding, and maybe people are like, oh, we'll go back to basketball. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm not going to proclaim that Indiana's about to fall off a cliff or that they're going to be horrible after this and that this was a one-time thing, but I could see that more than any other program. And that's not, I mean, that's realistically, that's what Indiana's been. Like, if you told me that these 2 years with Curt Cignetti were incredible and then a decade later they're kind of back to a middling Big Ten school, I wouldn't be astonished by that. So,
yeah, I understand. All right. So, college referees in general, umpires, refs in basketball, refs in football, whatever sport you watch, whichever one's your favorite. Everybody does the same thing when it comes to those people, and they complain about them. They make fun of them. They're the reason why we lost this game. Oh, that call was the reason why my team didn't win this game. And there's a huge problem right now, and I think most sports fans are aware of it, but especially in football, I know it's an issue in basketball as well, where the abundance of people that want to be referees and want to become referees, there's not a whole lot of them right now. So there's a bit of a shortage when it comes to them. So much so that the NFL has said that they're going to have to start poaching referees from the college level and have them call games on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays because they simply do not have enough of them. So this goes from the D1 level, the D2 level, all of them. They're going to be looking for people that they can take from that level. And so then obviously that's going to sprinkle in and follow to college football, where I'm sure they'll have a shortage and whatnot. But it did bring up this question for me. So because of how much people have complained about umpires in baseball, we now have the ABS system. And if you don't watch baseball, if you don't follow it, what it is now is players can now challenge balls and strikes. You get 2 per game. I don't want to get bogged down in the details, but now players have a say somewhat to where maybe, hopefully, the umpires don't completely dictate how a game goes. Is there something like this that we could apply, like the ABS system, and bring it to football? I have 5 options or 4 options.
Let's hear yours, because off the top of my head, I can't think
Okay, I know that we already have microchips in a football. I know the NFL is doing that, so you can see, like, was it actually a first down? How far did the ball actually get? But I do think that some form of ball marker, like I think just across college football or across football in general at the collegiate and the professional level, some type of actual, like, an exact marker of where the ball is. Obviously, that would be super beneficial for football.
Yeah, I think the problem you run into with that is it's not just where the ball is, it's where the ball is when the player's knee touches.
Right. Well, so like referees, and this is the other thing is like people are like, well, why does baseball need umpires anymore if you're just going to just go ahead and use a computer system to call balls and strikes? Well, this is where you still have referees in football because you still have to have someone spot the ball. But, you know, I don't know, you know. So that's an interesting one. So I also propose this. We need some type of system that would actually tell us if the ball broke the plane.
I'm fine with that. Again, I think that the issue that you're going to run into with a lot of these is it's not just did the ball break the plane, was it, you know, where was the ball when it happened? It's did the ball carrier have possession? Was his knee down? Like the example I would use for this is the Auburn Georgia game this year,
right,
where that fumble was being reviewed for ages. The ball crossed the plane. Mm-hmm. It just did not. It was not in possession when it did. So, like, how do you dictate that? Where's the way to figure that out?
And I think that's why it's hard to adopt anything like this into football because it's not as black and white as balls and strikes. Like, it's either a ball or a strike. It either hit the strike zone or it didn't. Very simple terms there. But even for something like this, exactly what you're talking about, you would also have to have some sort of system that could determine was the player's knee down, did the ball come loose? Now you're getting really complicated here, and I don't think you need to be that complicated. Here's a nice simple one, something that is black and white. Field goals. It doesn't happen very often.
This one I like.
It doesn't happen very often, but could we just put up, like, we could have something that is like a screen of shows you the zone of where a field goal is actually good in between pylons or goalposts. Because, you know, if you get way above it, it's hard to tell, like, did it actually go over the goalpost? Did it go through? Like, did it, all these other things, like, could we find some way to actually show, like, oh, was it actually good or not? I think this is the best option.
Not only that, give me a metric of that field goal was good from blank.
Yes.
I would love to know how.
Everybody gives the estimates, you know.
Yeah, like, oh, that would have been good from 70. Like, would it actually have been good
would
from
it
70?
have been?
I would love to. That's something. Now, that's not necessarily rule changes, but I would
I'm
love
sure
to know this.
Amazon Prime could figure that one out. They're the ones that have all the advanced analytics on stuff like this. But, yeah, I think this is the most, like, probable solution to where, like, hey, field goals. This would be nice and simple. And, you know, and again, it doesn't happen all that often, but just a potential. All right, this is my last one. And I think this one could work as well. I would put the field goal one, and then I'd put this one in, like, priority of, like, this is actually possible. We could do this. Players stepping out of bounds.
This is a good one. This one I like where there's, like, sensors from – totally agree with that one. I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, how much is, like, the technology going to cost to that for a play for something that happens – 1 to 2 times a game at most. Like, at most, there's only a few arguments of did this player step out of bounds.
That's a really good point, too, because these aren't things that happen every single game. Like, the field goal one I just mentioned, like, those situations don't happen all that often. How many times are you actually reviewing, did a player step out of bounds? Where did he step out of bounds? Balls and strikes are thrown every single game. There's tons of them. I mean, every single game, you are guaranteed to have instances where this is necessary. I don't know if football has something like that. I don't know if they have anything where it's needed, but I had some ideas. I think players stepping out of bounds, like, if it's not too expensive or so, I don't know. You know, I just wanted to throw out some ideas.
Yeah, I think that these are good ideas. I think that the issue you run into with football officiating in general is there's so many nuances to this, and there's so many subjective calls, like holding, targeting, pass interference, all of these things is like it's more up to the judgment of the official as opposed to did this ball cross the plane in a strike zone. Like that's really one of the main rules. Or did the ball touch the batter's bat?
Right.
Like stuff like that's simple. You can make that everything simple, but football there's so many nuances. So
you have any others you would want to give a suggestion for?
I think that you could utilize AI to some degree to determine whether or not this was pass interference, whether or not this was holding. But again, you're going to slow the game down to do that. You're going to take action.
And that's the other thing too is like, and whether or not you like it, at least I'm a big fan of what ABS is doing for baseball at this moment. It's very nice and efficient. You tap the top of your head, they go to the board. It takes like 10 seconds, so you're really not adding that much time onto the game. Maybe something that you're talking about there too is like maybe we find a way to where we can shorten reviews because there's times where replays take forever. I mean, It takes 10 minutes, it seems like sometimes, to review one singular play. And you got games that are lasting 4 hours or over 4 hours. So, but I don't know what that looks like. You know, I don't know how you would implement that to help speed up that process. I do think that there's obviously possibilities that you could use this and bring this to football. but I don't know what it is. I just gave my suggestions. Those are the ones that I could think of in that moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, these issues might become more pronounced if the NFL does poach college referees. So we'll see, but it's something to think about.
And I don't think that people would want a robot determining penalties in football. Because it's one of those things, because in basketball too, for me, I played basketball, so there's hand checks every single time in basketball. It happen all game. Fouls happen all the time. More times than not, there's probably a foul on a play. In football, a penalty could be thrown every single play if you wanted to. If you really wanted to go that by the book of what holding is or what pass interference is, all these different things, if you did shift to something making those decisions for you, it'd be an unwatchable product in my opinion.
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree on that.
So, I don't know. Just some fun off-season content right there, I guess. All right, we have a new college football playoff committee member, Christian.
I'm glad this is getting brought up because
you seem disgruntled by this.
I'm not disgruntled by it. I don't think. Go ahead and break the news for those who aren't aware.
Ladies and gentlemen, a former SEC head coach, well-known offensive coordinator, one of the best offensive minds maybe some would deem, has gone from coaching college football and is now going to be a member of the College Football Playoff Committee, and that person is Gus Malzahn.
Hell yeah, dude. So exciting. So glad that we're getting someone who actually knows the ins and outs of the game, a genius mind like Gus Malzahn, as one of these committee members who understands the X's and O's, what it takes to be a national championship team. He's coached some of the greatest players in this league. He coached Cam Newton. He's coached some incredible players at Auburn. He's a great addition to the College Football Playoff Committee. That's the overarching sentiment, right? And I understand that. Gus Malzahn's actually one of these respected people. He knows the sport. He's not Condoleezza Rice. He's not some out-of-touch AD who's just been thrown in there and thrown to the wolves in front of the screens. But here's my take on this. You could clone Nick Saban 1,000 times, or name your most respected college football mind who knows every nuance of the sport, who you would trust to make the absolute best decision as to who's ranked where. Clone them all you want. Make them the committee. It's still human-based, it's still subjective, and it's still going to be flawed no matter what, because even if Lord Nick Saban, committee member, committee chairman, or Josh Pate, or whoever you want, picked Team X, you would have a complaint because Team Y is more deserving. The College Football Playoff Committee itself is a flawed system. It doesn't matter who you put in it. It's great that we're getting actual coaches and actual people who understand the game to put in it. That's great. But the issue comes in the fact that there's not a rigid system. No one complains about the NFL playoffs when the 10-6 Eagles don't make it in, because there's a rigid system of you have to win your division. If you don't win your division, there's a wild card round and there's head-to-heads. There's things to figure out. No one complains about conference championships when, these two teams went, but I think the third team was a better option because there is a rigid system that outlines what you have to do to get there. There is an outline for what you have to do from the start of the season to the end of the season. Whereas in the College Football Playoff Committee, it's kind of up to whatever the humans decide. So you can add whoever you want in the College Football Playoff Committee. It's not going to change the issues that are at hand with it.
Do you think Gus Malzahn watches football that much? Casually? I know that as a coach you have to watch film, and I know that Gus Malzahn definitely watched film. Not saying that, but does he strike you as a casual football watcher?
No, and I think that's part of the reason why I find it so funny that people put so much in the coaches. It's the coaches.
Yeah.
They know more about the game than I do. Brother, Kirby Smart and Ryan Day are not sitting down on a Saturday to watch every college football game and the nuances.
But I could at least envision retired Kirby watching college football.
Yeah, so you're asking if Gus Malzahn actually
now that he is not coaching, does he strike you as the type of person that's sitting down on his couch on a Saturday in the fall, and from noon until midnight that guy is glued into his TV watching football? Because I know what I have envisioned in my mind of Gus Malzahn doing on a Saturday when he's retired. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I envision him being in his work shed in his backyard, messing around with his World War II diorama, listening to a football game on the radio.
There are two options for this, and there is no in between. Gus Malzahn either wakes up at 9 a.m. on a Saturday and hops in, he's in his Snuggie, and he watches college football from noon till midnight.
Like Nick Saban, the video we saw of Nick Saban.
Nick Saban, yes. Or he's in a treehouse somewhere trying to build a time machine. And he's not watching 1 second of college football. There's no in between of this. There's no, I'll watch this game, but I won't really pay attention to that one. Now, for the sake of the College Football Playoff Committee, I'd like to hope that he's watching all the games, but we'll see.
Yeah, Gus Malzahn definitely searches the dark web for like insane conspiracy theories.
Careful there.
Conspiracy theories.
Okay, that's all right.
Like to gain a lot of information and like just does an insane deep dive on the most absurd conspiracy theories.
That's fair.
Like that's the kind of guy that he strikes me as. Like I don't know, and maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely misjudging Gus, but I don't know. It's just like we talk about it all the time. When the infamous shot happens, when it's conference championship weekend, and we got all the committee members here in a room.
Everyone's taking off their badges and leaving them at the door, and we're not biased today. And there's a buffet of a crock pot and some Fritos for the
and the buffet is
to watch.
Spinach artichoke dip and some pita chips.
Everyone's wearing suits, and it looks like a corporate event. Like this is what your guys are doing to determine who's going to the college football playoff. Give me a break.
Yeah.
So,
but look, I'm glad like Gus Malzahn, I at least understands college football. He understands the levels to it. He understands all the different nuances in it. So I think it's a good thing that someone like him will be representative or will be representing the committee this year. But again, like what you're like, he's one person. He's not the entire committee either.
No, yeah, this is the equivalent of if you have a car where the transmission is completely shot and someone goes in and goes, "Well, we just replaced the alternator for you." Like. That's great. That's better.
It was necessary.
That's going to help things, but the underlying issue still stands with this entire system as a whole, and that's not going to get fixed until we do something completely different to rebuild it. So,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have had some just weird figures, it seems like, on this playoff committee, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I mean, the good news is that eventually we feel like it's going to get to a point where a committee isn't even needed anymore. As expansion continues and automatic bids come into the mix and all of those things. So we'll see where this goes. But, I mean, it's every year. Like, without a doubt, every single year there is some issue with every single committee of, like, how they rank teams or what it seems like they're prioritizing, or it seems like one week we prioritize this and then the next week that seemed like it didn't matter at all. Like, there's no consistency, and I think that's all what people want is they just want consistency. So I don't know. Maybe this year will be different, but I wouldn't bet on it.
No, it won't be different until you go to a NFL style system where they play. You know what you have to do from week one to get into the playoffs. You have to win Division X, or you have to have this record, or to be something like that. Like until you get there. Which, by the way, I'm not saying that this is what I want. Like in an ideal world, this isn't what we have. But in order to stop the committee got it wrong arguments, you have to get rid of the committee.
Do you think that they should just do the college football playoff rankings from week one on?
I think that would help, honestly.
I think that you could either do two decisions, which this first one would never happen. But I know some people who think that this is how it should be. No rankings at all until the college football playoff rankings comes out. You can't do that. We got to determine strength of schedule and all of those other things somehow.
You think ESPN's about to let that revenue go to
right?
Waste?
So like that would never happen. But I do know some people that think that's how it should be. Of like we have no rankings until the college football playoff rankings come out, and maybe you bump that up just a little bit to where you don't go 3/4 of the season without rankings. But I mean, I do think it would help a little bit. Now, what you do get into there is then there's going to be a whole lot of preseason bias. They want to be right. That's who they had as the number one seed at the beginning of the year, so they don't want to look like idiots. So, yeah, they're going to slide them in as a 12th team even though they lost 2 games. All of those good things. So maybe bump it up a little earlier in the season. Maybe don't go so late in the year. But I don't know. I think
it's a moot point, honestly. Like,
I agree.
The human element of it adds that flaw and will always open the door for – there's bias, they got it wrong, because it's a human element. So
yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that you could work around with the playoff and make it better. I don't know. Expanding, I don't think that's a solution, but that's the direction we're going. So maybe that does help. I don't know. I don't think it will. So there was a super viral video that went around in the football world today, and you came into the studio super passionate about it. I had my take. I think you had a different take on it. I think that the consensus, and if you haven't seen it, this is from Southeast Missouri's practice, and it's a ball carrier and then 3 defensive players diving in on him and just hitting the crap out of one another.
It's essentially a wedge drill. And
Yes.
instead of thudding up or tapping the hips like you normally do in a practice to avoid injuries, these boys are just killing each other.
Oh, they're diving at knees. They're doing it all.
Full contact, hit sticking, in a practice in spring. And this has obviously got a lot of pearl clutching, a lot of former players and current players going, oh my God, this is terrible. And then the other side going, this is what's wrong with America. Everyone's soft. This is why football sucks today. And my reaction to this was, I'm so glad that we are getting a first account and first-hand view at what basically every person my age and older went through 4 days a week in youth football practice. Like, you guys are finally getting an inside glimpse. And anyone who's younger than me, like, I feel like my generation's kind of the last generation where you were really hitting at practice.
The rules were much looser.
I vividly remember coming in from fifth grade practice and then going into sixth grade practice, and things were completely different. It's like, we're not doing hitting drills today? Like, what's this? Let me tell you what Monday through Thursday was for CYFA football. You wake up, you go to practice, and your warm-up was 15 push-ups, some jumping jacks, you did some dynamic stretches, and then everyone got in a circle, and one player started around the circle and ran around it, and another started from the other end of the circle and ran the other direction, and you collided into each other. You did that for 20 to 30 minutes, and that was your warm-up to get the tone set and things like that, to physical. Then you got practice, and then the end of the day was Oklahoma drills, where two players lay on their back, flip over, and then sprint at each other. That was that for 4 days a week. And this is your 8 years old doing this. So now people are seeing college athletes doing this and going, oh, my God, put that coach in prison. It's kind of funny to see, like, bro, we were doing this every day for 5 and 6 years.
Yeah, so, now look, I will say, probably not the smartest thing to be doing.
Oh, it's terrible for your body.
Yeah, but obviously.
Years are being taken off these young men's careers.
I would say that football in general, terrible for the body, all in all. I would say it's pretty bad for the body.
That's fair.
But super entertaining. But, I don't know. Maybe something maybe you can disagree with me on this. But maybe something you do in fall camp, because everybody talks about got to callous the body, got to get the body ready for the season. So maybe you do that as a little warm up, hey, we're getting our bodies ready for the contact that we're about to be dealing with this season. I don't know about spring football in March.
This is the equivalent of when Happy Gilmore at the start of the movie is like, I got to toughen up for the hockey season.
Seriously.
And he just starts taking 90-mile-an-hour fastballs to the dome. He's like, this is getting me ready for the hockey season. It's like, you're probably just giving yourself brain damage. I don't think anyone from southeastern Missouri, correct? That's the school?
Yes.
I don't think anyone in fall is going to, get home from practice on a fall Saturday or a fall whatever day and go, man, I'm really glad we were hitting the hell out of each other in spring, because I feel great right now. Mm-hmm. I feel calloused. And I get from that coach's perspective of we're going to set the tone. It's a new era here. We're going to be tough. And that was probably a very brief drill they're doing. I know this is being over-exaggerated, but the risk that you running a drill like that in the spring, in that style, by the way, a 3-on-1 with a ball carrier is kind of crazy. There's not even lead blockers for that or anything. So, very funny. But at the end of the day, that's nothing surprising for me.
Yeah. I will say that I think that when you and I were growing up, and obviously before that, I don't know what it's like now because I haven't been around youth sports since I was a kid, obviously.
Right.
Wouldn't be a good idea. I will soon, though, I'd imagine, as I'm starting to have kids.
You're just out there hanging out the field.
Let's see what the new crop of talent's looking like.
I'm scouting for Coach Smart.
I work with Sports Illustrated, just trying to see what the up-and-coming talent's looking like. Need to know who's on my radar.
Who's that 6'6" man that just stands in the corner of the field?
With sunglasses on.
He's got a notepad.
He's got a ghillie suit on.
Writing down things. But yeah, no.
I think that then we did a much better job of you truly found out at that age and early on whether or not you liked a sport. I think that we did a lot of things that truly made you know I love this sport, or hey, probably not for me. I don't know if I want to be doing this.
Oh yeah, dude. Getting housed in an Oklahoma drill very quickly makes you go, do I want to do this?
Yeah, that's how my football career was. My very short-lived football career was, not for me, dude. I'm good on that. I'll pass.
Bro, let me tell you, when you win the Oklahoma drill and you put someone on their ass, No better feeling in the world.
I don't know. I was like, I'll go back to the baseball field. I'm good with that. Basketball season's in a couple of months. I'll just go shoot some hoops in the driveway until then. I think I'm good on this football stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like, looking back, though, it probably is better that – it's certainly better that we don't conduct a practice like that, especially with – the youthful minds of America.
Yeah, and I would say some of this is for the betterment of kids, okay? I'm not saying, like, back in my day, we didn't do this sissy crap. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I think that changes that are being made for youth sports are ultimately for the betterment of these kids and the longevity of themselves. So, not doing that whole thing, but what?
10, 15 years down the road when, hypothetically, if you have a son and you guys are, coaching a youth football league and you guys are like, all right, we're doing Oklahoma drills today. We're going to run at each other and just crack each other's skulls for 20 minutes. You're like, Coach Jonathan, why are we doing this? It's like, we got to figure out how bad you want to play football, son.
I want to know if you want to do this. Coach, it's day one. I've never played football. Doesn't matter. We're going to find out if you like it right here, right now. Let's go.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to keep up with Southeastern Missouri and see how their season goes. If they're one of the toughest teams,
will it be that interesting? Are you really going to be keeping up with Southeast Missouri?
I'll check in mid-November. Like, what's their record right now?
What's the injury report looking like right now for these boys?
Like
but it is interesting. We talked about Indiana earlier in the show, and they do things completely differently.
Yeah.
They practice less than anybody else. They study more film. They're very efficient with their practices, and they do that hoping that the health of their team will be better than everybody else. And it worked last year. So, how does that compare to what Southeast Missouri will have in the middle of November compared to what Indiana will be looking like? I don't know. So we talked about Gus Malzahn, very well known in the Auburn space, in Auburn fandom. Did a lot of good things there. Regardless of how his tenure ended with the Tigers, I would say ultimately that was a success for them. But this video came across, and I believe it's Eric Winters talking about this, one of their safeties. This is after practice, and one of the question he gets asked is, hey, I noticed that you guys have an Iron Bowl practice period. And Iron Bowl, obviously, is the rivalry matchup between Alabama and Auburn at the end of every college football regular season, one of the best rivalries in college football, and it means a whole heck of a lot to that state and every single fan that represents either Auburn or Alabama. And it means so much to Alex Golish that he wants to have an Iron Bowl practice session. Now, what they actually do in this, I have no idea. The only thing that the player said is things in this period just matter a whole lot more than others. It just feels different. The energy's different. Like, the focus is different. It's like, this is the most important thing that we have going on right now. What do you think about doing it? Because, like, Michigan did something similar to this a few years ago, and it went viral when Jim Harbaugh mentioned that they have a beat Georgia period.
So this is what I'm remembering. There was a big sign. I don't remember if it was a sign or if it was like an actual something that they put up in the facility. But there was a big question mark, and it was ahead of the 21 season, and it was, what are you doing today to beat Ohio State? And everyone clowned Jim Harbaugh and said, this is the most little brother energy we've ever seen. This is hilarious. Loser, like all these things. And then Michigan went on to beat Ohio State 4 years in a row.
Sure did.
And it was kind of like, well, damn, I guess the what are you doing to beat Ohio State period worked. This is only going to age well if Alex Golish in his first season go out and they beat Kalen DeBoer and Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
Or at least finishes with a winning record against them.
Correct.
Like one of those things.
So this is one of those strict things where the success in this and the coreness of this will be judged completely by how the results are. If we come back a year now and Kalen DeBoer and Alabama just destroyed Auburn and Tuscaloosa and it was a 30-point game, everyone's going to go, hey, y'all remember when Auburn had that Iron Bowl period in the spring and then they got beat by 30 points? That's foolish. It's all like, I think of the Jeff Collins thing with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I was going to say this.
They're out doing workouts and pre-games and they're doing barbell curls and cleans and everyone's like, the hell is this?
Corny bros out here doing.
Now, if Georgia Tech went on and they had a 9-win season that year or they were a really scrappy team, people would go, Jeff Collins has figured something out here. Everything that you do and all of your philosophies and all of the practice things you implement is solely based on the results of your season. Perfect example of this, Curt Cignetti at Indiana. We just talked about it. The not practicing, the having older players on your roster. Everyone's looking around going, man, that Curt Cignetti, he figured something out. If Indiana went 7-5 this year or 6-6, we'd be clowning Kurt Signe for saying, "Can you remember when he said I haven't even beat everyone yet at the basketball game when he was first introduced, and how he thinks getting all these old has-beens is going to make you a good football team?"
Mm-hmm.
It's all results based. So yeah, it's funny right now to look at this and go, it's a little weird to have an Iron Bowl period. It's very little brother energy, but at the same point, hell, you beat Alabama this year, you look like a genius.
I mean, as an Auburn fan, at the very least, you know that your head coach is very aware of how much this rivalry means, and at least you're doing something to show that you do care about it and that it means something to you. This does seem to be a bit of a new phenomenon in college football, I would say, because when Brent Key got hired at Georgia Tech, one of the biggest things that he talked about is, I hope we beat them every year. I hate Georgia so much. To hell with Georgia, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, that hasn't aged so well, as he does not have a single win against the Bulldogs since he's taken over as head coach at Georgia Tech. You mentioned the one with Jim Harbaugh. But I also remember Jim Harbaugh having a beat Georgia period, and this is at the point in time where Michigan lost to Georgia in the Orange Bowl. They came close to potentially playing for a national title, and then the next year they go and lose to TCU in the semifinal game.
And that was the joke of, beat Georgia, they should have had a beat TCU period.
Yeah, and
instead.
it's like, y'all don't even play Georgia every single year, so why are you having a beat Georgia? Well, at the time, Georgia had just rattled off back-to-back national titles, so the whole thing was, we're going to make sure that we're better than the best right now so that we are the best at the end of the season. And sure, in the heat of the moment, it's like, oh, there goes Jim Harbaugh again doing one of his goofy things, something that doesn't make any sense, and it aged well. And now nobody talks about it anymore because it's not funny, because it actually worked. So you're exactly right. These things are always results-based. Like, it's either going to age really well and nobody's going to talk about it anymore, or it's going to age poorly, and if Alex Golesh is ultimately fired from Auburn, it's going to be, ha, 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 never beat Alabama, yet you dedicated 15 minutes to practice every day about the Iron Bowl, like things like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, again, so we wish them well.
Yeah, hope it works out for you, Auburn, I suppose.
All right, so did you see the internet is clowning Deion Sanders today?
I did see this.
So
I don't know any context, by the way.
So I found the context, and apparently,
okay.
It's Deion.
Should we deliver the no context version first?
Yes, that's what I was going to do.
Okay.
So Deion Sanders, the Colorado Buffaloes had their pro day today, and obviously for those who know, pro day is when your prospective NFL scouts come to your facility and they watch your players and for a private workout, and they do all the things that you basically do at the NFL Combine, but you get a more in-depth look at it because it's just your players. There's a clip going viral of Deion Sanders sitting on an exercise ball and holding a fishing rod. And people are kind of like, this is what's wrong with Deion Sanders. He's checked out. This is goofy. He's making this about him once again. And in fairness, Deion Sanders has done this to himself a lot because he is very much a showman and a theatric. He actually went on his social media to clarify what this was about. He said that basically one of his players had been begging him for a Coach Prime rod and reel, which I guess he's got a rod and reel line as well.
What the heck?
Along with all the
What
other.
doesn't this guy have?
I don't know. He's a savvy businessman.
Deion Sanders is like the Shaquille O'Neal of appearance and things like that.
He is the Shaq. He is college.
Like
he is
Shaquille
football
O'Neal.
Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal's in every commercial. Me and my father-in-law were watching something the other day, and we were just listing off the number of commercials that he's in, and it's like, oh, he's got Papa John's, he's got Home Depot, he's got the General, he's got Icy Hot. Like, what isn't this guy in? Deion Sanders is that with anything, I feel like. Oh, he's got a line for this. He's got a hoodie line. He's got a hat line. He's got a fishing rod line, huh?
Yeah, so apparently one of these players was like, Coach, I need a fishing rod. And what he told the player was, hey, if you run this time at the 40, I'll give it to you. So he had it. He said, I had it on standby, so I was going to give it to him on spot if you were in it, which is honestly, a very commendable thing for Coach Prime and all those. It is very funny to think about of, you're an NFL scout coming here. There's probably not a ton of you because Colorado didn't have a great season and there's not a ton of prospects. So there's probably like 15 to 16 NFL scouts there all looking around. They're like, is that a fishing rod that Deion has? Like, what the hell is going on? And then whoever it is runs the 40 and they like check their stopwatches to look at the time and they're like, yes. And then Deion walks over with his fishing rod and hands it to him. You're just going, what the hell is this program?
Yeah, so interesting. I don't know that I ultimately have a take on this because I don't know. I've never anything that I feel like I watch of Colorado. It's something that I've never seen before. And maybe this is something that, hey, maybe we wait to give the young man the fishing rod until after the pro day. But and you just avoid the ability for someone to take a 5-second video of you sitting on a yoga ball with your fishing rod.
Does he have a fishing rod over there? Oh, he does.
Deion Sanders sitting on his yoga ball, watching his players run around the field like this. It's like, what are you doing? At first I was like, he's just ready to go hit the ponds. Like he's ready to go hit the lake.
That's the thing. It wasn't rigged up at all. It's just the rod and reel. There's no line on it. It's just it's straight out the supermarket. So again, Deion Sanders, if there's one thing we know about him, he is the ultimate showman. He is someone who wants to be seen and be talked about, and even when the energy's negative and the attention's negative, he does not care because he likes that. So I'm not going to fault Deion Sanders for that because that's who he is, but definitely a choice, I would say.
All right. You got anything else?
No, dude, you know what? We always get flack for, they short us in the local hour.
Local 45.
Local 45. How about the local 70?
Local 70. You heard it here first. We'll see you guys on the other side. We got a whole lot to talk about. In fact, I was so right. So much so, I'm taking a little bit of a victory lap. We'll see you guys.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog?
What's up? You like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
All right, welcome into the local hour. We're giving you a little bit of change as well. You know, usually the local hour. How about local hour plus 5? How does that sound? Plus 5 minutes, Christian.
Yeah, we'll just end the show at 9:55. I'm joking.
But in all seriousness, as always, we got a loaded local hour for you guys. Kirby Smart had another press conference today. You know, spring football is here. Got to make sure we get all the details, as much information as we can to make sure that we survive from mid-April all the way until the end of August, Christian. Got to make sure because it's coming up. It's like the ultimate dead period is coming up.
Again, I'm prepared for it. I warned you all at the start of spring. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get too in love with the college football news circulating and the practice clips and the sound bites. It will disappear very quickly. You'll be looking around in June going, when's football season? Like, there's baseball on?
Whoa. That was a little unnecessary.
All right, you're right. My bad.
A little unnecessary.
But you will be wondering where that football is, so don't
be
be
good
surprised.
news is, if you watched yesterday's show, you have plenty of options to help kill time throughout the rest of the offseason because we gave you our 10 games to watch during the offseason, previous Georgia games to watch. So if not, go back to yesterday's show and catch all that. But Kirby Smart had a press conference. Christian went. He even asked a question and actually led to Kirby Smart proving that I was right. So a little assist there from Christian. I really appreciate that. We're at like kind of the halfway point of spring practice and spring football for Georgia, so I felt necessary to go down and list all the things like these are the things that we know. We're 2 weeks out from G-Day. Here's everything that we know, questions that we had, the answers that we have, maybe some still lingering questions that we have as well. Quite a few Georgia football players leaving the roster, as always, head off to the NFL. We're going to discuss who is going to fill the voids that those players left. And then, speaking of all those dogs, we're going to say where their best landing spot is in the NFL draft for every player that has declared for the NFL draft. We're going to give you our ideal landing spots, even if it isn't plausible for it to happen. If it seems a little outlandish, we're just going to give you our opinions of like, hey, we think this player would be really good here. We'll give our thoughts and opinions there. So, we'll start it off, Christian. Kirby Smart had a press conference today.
Yeah, I want to not even going to bury the lead here. I asked Kirby a question. I even told you yesterday, I was like, I think this is the question I'm going to ask him. If you aren't familiar and you don't have social media, Kirby Smart went viral this past weekend for a clip that basically captured him chewing out Amaris Williams for what he did in practice. Apparently, Elias Williams, to quote Kirby Smart, destroyed him, and Kirby's proclaiming, don't put him in against the run ever again. And we had a good laugh about that yesterday and all these things. So I wanted to talk to Kirby about this and get his thoughts on it. So before we do that, Jay, we'll just go ahead and play the clip.
It could have been something as simple as like, Amaris gets his foot stepped on, and so he loses his balance, and so then Elias just like chucks him onto the ground. So maybe nothing to do with what Amaris did, but if you're going to fall on your face or it looks like Kirby's going to go out of his way to make sure you hear it of like, hey, man, we got to do better than that. And especially for a guy that's new to the program, you got to treat everybody the same. You got to be an asshole to everybody. Amaris being the butt of the joke of that one.
I mean, I'll say this, that play in particular, he actually slipped and stepped on somebody's foot. So it's probably not a fair assessment of him, because when you step on somebody else's foot and slip, sometimes you get your ass whipped, and then sometimes you just slip, and you're not allowed to slip. But it wasn't as bad as it seemed, certainly, but I don't worry about it because, there's a certain level of toughness it requires to play football, and that's all for you guys to worry about. Y'all like to capture things and put them out and make them a big deal. We do this every day, so.
It's always fun when he like starts talking to the media people. Like when you ask him a question, he starts like, you media people like to say things and put them out. I was just sitting there like, I didn't even retweet it, man. Like, bro,
he made eye contact with you.
Bro,
you've done something.
Maintained eye contact the entire time with me, answering the question of like, well, actually, what really happened on that play? Like, I was just asked, the question I asked him was, does it ever bother you when these types of things of a private practice get out in the public and narratives start getting spun? And he's like, well, you people are the one who's spinning there. So like,
you people are the one that take the videos.
He's like, wouldn't you like to know, media boy? I was like, dude, I'm just asking a question, man. But no, he did reveal that you were absolutely right, JWill. And Amaris Williams stepped on a foot or had his foot stepped on. It was not nearly as bad as what the audio would have indicated. So that was kind of the vindication for you there.
I'd do it. That's such a Kirby move. Like, that had Kirby written all over it.
You were out, yeah.
For one of those moments to happen. And it's so frustrating as a player for you to get called out for something that it really had nothing to do with you. You couldn't have done anything other than not slip and fall. So, yeah, I was right. Happy to have that type of moment there. And going back to what you're saying, though, there's another portion in Kirby Smart's press conference, too. I can't remember what the topic was, but it was about Nate going into the transfer portal or, like, getting him back. Yeah. And it's like, how does it feel that you guys got Nate Frazier back, that you re-signed him? He's like, well, it doesn't matter to us. You guys are the ones that care about it. We don't care about that type of stuff. It's like, really? You don't care about re-signing your starting running back? I would hope that you care about that. Coach like, you people are the ones that care about that crap, not us.
I love it, dude. It's so much fun to be in there and just like watch that and feel that.
It is funny.
But no, some of the other things you discussed, we got official confirmation that Gunnar Stockton has suffered a knee injury. Suffered a knee injury is what he said. Apparently it was something he did during preseason workouts and that he's progressing fine. I think the best way to put this is Gunnar Stockton tweaked his knee, and the staff probably looked around and said, this is kind of a great opportunity to force feed Ryan Puglisi some runs reps now.
Yeah, because this happened in a drill, correct?
I think it was a workout. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was something like that. So it's not like Gunnar Stockton took a helmet to the knee or something like that, or like I don't think he like hyperextended his leg or anything like that. I don't think it's anything like that, but certainly. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time, not just with quarterbacks, but we talked about it with the offensive line going into the offseason, where it's, hey, Ernest Green doesn't need to take a single snap this spring. It's just not necessary. He's been banged up before in his career. He's been at Georgia for 5 to 6 years now. No need for him to be taking any reps this spring. Instead, how about we give those to Juan Gaston, Ekene Ogboko, all those guys? How about we just dedicate those reps to them? Same thing for Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton has been at Georgia now for 5 years. Mm-hmm. No need for him to be taking the ones reps at this very moment. Now, he does need to continue to improve, not saying that he can just kick his feet up. He's a perfect prospect. He doesn't need any practice. I'm not saying that, but it's very vital that they figure out what Ryan Puglisi is.
What would Gunnar say to be like, hey, Gunnar, we don't need you to take any more reps at the ones. You're fine.
That's some bull junk, Coach. I ain't sitting on the sideline. That's fired up Gunnar. I haven't done fired up Gunnar. I've only done it's great.
That's interview Gunnar.
Love the dogs, but practice Gunnar I think's got a little fire behind it.
Oh, for sure. Some other things. This is the part of the Kirby Smart media availability where basically it's a segment called You Ask Kirby Smart About a Player, and he gives you a very, very surface-level answer. So I'll go down the list here. He was asked about the new players on the O-line, said that really good competition going on. No one's sticking out so far. He was asked about Caden Prothro and what he brings. Very athletic, got good size, got good speed, got to get up to speed and be able to contribute. He was asked about the quarterbacks behind Gunnar Stockton, said they're all working hard, they're all doing very well, they're all great at their own things. Running backs, what he wanted them to be better at. Third down efficiency was kind of the main thing that he pointed to, which, fair answer, and then pointed out, how he's happy with how Nate, Chauncey, and some of the new guys, Dante, and all the others are progressing. So that's going very well. He was asked about safeties, and this is where we got our second nugget. Said Khalil Barnes has been great. He's been doing a lot of great things for us. Just, super pleased with where he's at. He revealed that Jamarly Riddle hasn't been able to do a lot physically. So, for those of you who don't know, Jamarly Riddle was one of the kind of more hyped up transfers this year.
Sure.
Had a lot of really good tape, an absolute dog, got some Javon Bullard comps. In the initial spring practice reports of, hey, these are the players that are not going to be available to us, he was not included in that. Now, Jamarly Riddle, from my understanding, has not been able to do much at all at practice. He's dealing with a foot injury.
This is something they knew about prior.
Correct. So Kirby revealed that he's doing a lot of the mental reps. He's on the field. He's making calls. He's got a microphone and things like that. But when the ball is snapped and all those things, he's not able to participate in practice.
And if you want even more details on Jamarly Riddle, Brooks put out a nug earlier today with all kinds of details about why he transferred to Georgia, what Georgia expects of him, all of these types of things, what the timeline is for him this upcoming year. If you want all those details, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. All kinds of good stuff coming out right now at spring practice, but there was one drop today specifically about Jamarly Riddle. It's got some really good stuff. So if you want that, again, patreon.com/Brooks Austin.
Great plug for the boss man there.
Thanks.
Next one he was asked about is Zyke Helton, which we have a new name pronunciation, so it's a shame Brooks isn't
Zakai.
It is pronounced Zakai
I have
Helton.
alarmed him about this. I have told Brooks it is Zakai Helton. I think we just, maybe it's one of those things for him where when we have to have a name change or we find out how you actually say someone's name, we just have to almost like we have Tourette's, you just randomly say Zakai.
Zakai.
It's Zakai. Just out of nowhere.
Just while he's doing the opening monologue, Zakai.
Zakai. McLeod. We'll just have to do that.
Bullard.
So it really instills in his mind.
Bullard.
God, that one always cracked me up.
That was bad, dude.
Javon Bullard.
Zakai Helton is battling Crohn's disease, actually.
Yeah, lost a ton of weight in high school because of it.
Correct. So said that he's got a really good program right now, and that Zakai actually revealed that one of the reasons that he committed to Georgia was because they offered so much support with that. So that's kind of cool to see. That was an interesting story that Kirby Smart told about. Was asked about Malachi and Cortez at the center position. Obviously, Drew Bobo's hurt. Both have been getting a lot of reps and competing. We're very happy with their progress. And then finally, the last player that was asked about for this portion of the segment, Elias Williams. He uses his size well, but he has to become more twitchy. Very pleased with the tight end group as a whole.
That's interesting. Become more twitchy.
Or he's looking to be more twitchy. Something along those lines of more twitchiness.
Interesting.
Needed to twitch more.
Because Twitch I've always envisioned as either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
You're either a twitchy athlete or you're not. So interesting phrasing around of wants to be more twitchy or I don't know what that looks like for Elias, but I don't know. Very interesting.
The next three things that he discussed were Coach Robert Edwards and how he's affecting the running back room. Kirby said that he's a great example and a great coach to have in that room, not only because he understands the game and played it at a high level, he provides a great deal of understanding as to how to deal with adversity. You're going to deal with adversity at some point in your collegiate career. Robert Edwards obviously had a devastating knee injury in his time in the NFL, had to come back from that, had some few seasons, was never the same player after that, unfortunately. So he, more than most people, would understand what it means to deal with said adversity. So very good that he's on that staff. Was asked about how, hey, you've had explosive offenses in the past, but it's been through explosive players like Brock, Ladd McConkey, Zachariah Branch. Is it more the system that needs to become more explosive or the players? And he revealed you need explosive players to be explosive. Sometimes you can scheme things up and that's great, but at the end of the day, sometimes players just have to make plays.
Now, I did see his answer to this question, and I thought it was interesting of how when you talk about an offense being explosive and what it takes for them to be explosive, he talks about explosive players. But as fans, you think about, well, you need a really good OC, and you need to know when to call those plays, and you need a great quarterback, and blah blah blah. Kirby said it's easy to be explosive, in his opinion. It's not hard to be an explosive offense. You got to make the plays. You got to catch the ball. You got to make the throw. You got to make the blocks. It's not hard to be explosive. You just have to do the right things. It's not as complex maybe as it seems at times.
And the last note from Coach Smart's presser, which, by the way, lasted about 20 minutes. Ooh, got a good 20 from Coach Kirby.
Now, to be fair, he took last week off, so he owed some minutes.
I'm not going to say that. That was JWill that said that.
It was a very sarcastic.
You don't owe me anything, Coach. Thank you for letting me come to the availabilities.
I love how we're sitting here acting like, Kirby, we know you're listening. Sorry. Let me apologize.
Coach Smart's sitting at home on his iPad. No, these Leland, don't let them back in the media room.
But hypothetically, if you are listening, did not mean that. Just saying.
Yeah,
we're grateful for any and every accessibility we get to the program.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes.
His last question he was asked about is, how have you seen Coach Knight impacting the room so far? Very interesting answer on this. He goes, it's too early to tell right now. He's still getting the foundational relationship set.
Yeah, I mean, something that doesn't get talked a lot about during spring football is obviously players are getting acclimated and players are looking to improve their game, but new coaches have to get acclimated. I mean, he's only a few weeks into like really being a positions coach at the University of Georgia, so he's got to really figure out how things flow, how practice goes, what's expected, what he wants to do, like get his message sent across to all of his players, so he's got to get acclimated as well, just like players.
Following Coach Smart, we got running back Chauncey Bowens, who gave us a good solid 5 minutes. He also, complimented Coach Edwards and what he had been able to do for that program, talked about how he knew he was a legendary running back at the time. Says that he feels great after dealing with injuries. Obviously, Chauncey was hindered last year due to some calf injuries. Probably didn't get to see the full potential of Chauncey Bowens, so right now he seems to be feeling great. He was asked about his number switch. For those of you who don't know, Chauncey Bowens will not be wearing number 33 this year. He will be wearing number 5. Was kind of, hey, why are you doing this? What's talk to me behind that? He actually revealed it's to honor Garrison Hurst.
Oh.
He roomed with Gannon, who's Garrison's son, and kind of asked him, hey, what would you think if I wore your dad's number? And he had said that he'd been eyeing it before, so I don't know if that was the main reason why he wanted that. Maybe just wanted number 5, but he has Gannon Hurst's blessing, and he does it to kind of honor Garrison Hurst.
Hey, good on him to have the awareness of like, hey, let me check up on this, get the blessing from the Hurst family first before I just go out there and rock number 5. Because, fans are very protective of certain numbers, even though number 5 is not retired in Sanford Stadium. People love them some Hurst.
Oh, yeah, you can't be a scrub and wear number 3.
No, don't. God, no.
No. You have to, that number 3 is the LSU equivalent.
If you're an offensive player, you rock number 3 with pride, and you better be good.
For sure. This was an interesting one. It was kind of talked about how, hey, there might have been some rumors that you were flirting with the portal this season, and, what was that like? He shut that down immediately. He said, no, there wasn't really any rumors. I was always going to stay here. I never really entertained portal offers. So, and again, you got to take that at face value. Like, there's no reason to deny that now. He did deny the offers were coming in, and right. Nate Frazier went viral a few months ago talking about how he saw some crazy offers. So these players are fielding offers, which goes back to everyone's getting tampering offers.
Yeah, it's like I said yesterday with the Jeremiah Smith thing where he's talking about, I got this massive offer from a school, and you guys know who they are. I don't care if I know who they are or not. We know you're getting offers, okay? We know Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bowens are getting offers. We know everybody in that Georgia running back room that was on the roster last year got offers to go somewhere this offseason. Like, no matter who you are, you're getting freaking offers to go somewhere.
For sure. Last thing he talked about was Dante Dowdell and how having experience in that room in the SEC was very valued. So the room seems to be welcoming number 22 with open arms this season.
Love me a 22.
Yeah. Next, we got Nate, who also had a story to talk about with Coach Edwards. Revealed that he talked to him about what did you do with fumbles? How did you mentally deal with that? Very interesting. This is obviously something that is somewhat of a sore subject, even though I think it's overplayed at this point. Like, Nate Frazier had 2 fumbles last season.
Yeah, he cut them out. After the Bama game, we're good.
But either way, it's obviously something that very much weighs on Nate to this point. And Coach Edwards revealed it's more of a mindset than anything. If you're worried about fumbling, if you're thinking about all of it at the time, you're more likely to do it. So kind of solid advice from Coach Edwards. This was the most fun part of the entire day for me. For those of you who don't know, Nate Frazier's recently become a dog owner.
It's a French bulldog, right?
It's a French bulldog, I believe.
Yeah.
It's French something.
Okay.
It's, French.
Don't like the French, huh?
I'm an American, dude. We have an unspoken rivalry with the French.
All right.
Anywho, we're not going to.
Their fries though are pretty good.
That's Belgium. Don't give them credit for that.
Hey,
it's Belgium that made
I was making
fries.
a very American joke.
Dude, Hold yourself to a higher standard. Dude.
Come on, man.
We're
talking about farts to start the show, and I make a joke about French fries being from France. Just hold yourself together.
God forbid a man have morals. Anyways, Nate Frazier was asked about what's life like as a dog owner. How's that kind of going? And he gave us a good 45 seconds of telling us about all of the ways his dog has gone to the bathroom in his house. He said the dog went to the bathroom on the pads. I cleaned the pads up. Goes on the couch. Pees on the couch. I put him in the bed. He pees on the bed. I'm like, surely this dog doesn't have to go to the bathroom anymore. Goes on the carpet. Like, this went on I feel bad for Nate Frazier, man. His house must just smell like a litter box right now.
And that's the thing is, like, when dogs start peeing on things, it's really hard to get that smell out. Like, you can, especially when they're doing it everywhere. Obviously, it's a pain to clean. Like, you got to get the carpet cleaner. You got to wash the sheets. You got to do all that. But house training a dog is a very taxing process. It can be, at least.
For sure. He was asked about how the dynamic between him and Chauncey is expected to get better this season. He gave a really good answer to this. He says, we're not focused on this duo. We're focused on getting better as a room as a whole. I know there's kind of the sentiment that there's a 1-2 punch at Georgia, and it's, this guy, and that Nate and Chauncey are kind of believed to be those guys this year. Nate and them are viewing it as a room as a whole. So that was kind of nice. Talked about how getting to work with the new vets. This was an interesting question. I want to give a shout out to Ben Wolk for that. Everyone talks about how you get the young guys up to speed, the freshmen, the incoming guys. What do you do for the transfers that it's not their first time playing college football, it's their first time in in this facility, in this program? Nate said you got to teach younger guys how to be college athletes, but you have to teach the older guys how to be Georgia athletes. So that was a very, very interesting way to put that. He was also asked about transfer rumors. And the way Nate recounts this is that he woke up one day and saw all these rumors on social media and just turned his phone off and went to talk about how, I feel like I've showed everyone I bleed red and black. There's no other place for me. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. Very much proclaimed his love for UGA. So I don't think that there's ever any worry that Nate Frazier has ever been unhappy at the University of Georgia.
Well, I think, too, like what's hard to decipher in those moments is now with college athletes, it's no longer do they want to enter the portal. Obviously, their own opinion matters, and what they ultimately want to do matters a whole lot. But when it comes to like things being leaked and maybe like options are being explored, you have to remember that these players have agents, and these agents may think a little bit differently than the athletes do. So like sometimes it's hard to know like where that information is coming from. Like, oh, there's interest here from Nate Frazier that he might want to go here. Well, is it Nate Frazier that has interest going there, or is it Nate Frazier's camp? And this applies for every athlete. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but in the offseason when these rumors happen, like it's so hard to know, like, is it really the athlete that feels this way, or is it the agent being like, hey, we got a pretty sweet deal over here. I know you love Georgia, but this might be better off for us to go here.
And it could also be trying to leverage that to say, well, hey, Georgia, this school is offering my client X. And then the rumor gets out of, oh, well, now Nate Frazier's thinking about going to the – like, there's so many nuances. It isn't Nate Frazier woke up one day and went, I don't know if I want to play for Georgia anymore.
Athens really not cutting it anymore.
Yeah, so I don't think that's ever what happened. So you're right. There's a bunch of nuances to that. Last thing Nate was asked about was – 2024, the running game wasn't great. 2025, there was a massive increase on that. What changed between those two seasons, he would say? And the team was more connected. That was basically the gist of what his answer was for that, of how everyone's playing for each other. So when you have that, there's more of a results-based and success in that. Final player we got was Elijah Griffin, who his first media appearance and was not nervous at all. So shout out to him. He was asked about like who have you kind of been leaning on recently for your experience. Talk about Warren Brinson, a guy that has a lot of experience, knows what it takes to be in the NFL, very close with those players.
Okay, that makes sense now that I think about it.
Was asked what's the best advice you've gotten this time at Georgia. Take things day by day. Don't worry so much about the end result. Be a process-based player. I wonder where we've heard that before. Said that C.J. Allen set the example for how to be a pro. Shocker there. I mean, C.J. Allen, I feel like from the moment he got to Athens was like, oh, that guy's going to be an NFL linebacker
for sure.
one day. So no shot that he set the example. Valdon Sohn reminds Elijah Griffin of Elijah Griffin.
Oh.
So he goes, yeah, he reminds me a lot of me. So pretty funny little.
All those jokes I made about John Summerall now aren't looking too good.
No, but he did it in an endearing way and explained like how he had a lot to learn when he got there and how there were things that he wasn't necessarily quite doing right. I don't think he was being like, this guy's just as good as me.
It's another me.
My God, it's another me. So that was it. And then Elias Williams, last thing was he's been doing things the right way on and off the field. So I think we should expect big things from Elias. And I'm about to sneeze, so I'll let you take over now.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you for doing your job and attending the press conference today, bringing us all the information. Always love that. I know sometimes people don't have the time in the day to go and watch a 20-minute press conference from Kirby and all the players. So, we just give you the cliff notes, the important things, or the things that we feel are important, and we bring those to you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I know you certainly should right now because there's not a whole lot going on. This is the football that you get. That's the information that we get. But speaking of that, based on the information that we have gained from these press conferences and based on what we know as people that cover the football team, we had a lot of questions heading into the spring practice, and we listed all of them out, certain positions that we had bigger questions on. And I wanted to go and break down, we're just a couple of weeks or a few weeks out from G-Day. Now you're about to make me sneeze.
No, you don't sneeze.
We're just a few weeks out from G-Day right now, so I wanted to go ahead and break down all of the things that we do know about this football team. So the first one that I have on my list, offensive line depth is getting figured out. I wouldn't say that they obviously know who the travel squad is and who all of their key pieces are. I think they know the majority of them, but outside of the starters that we know of, and that would be Ernest Green, that would be Drew Bobo, that would be Donnie Glover, that would be Juan Gaston. We know those four, but everybody else behind them and who's going to play the other guard spot, I think those things are getting figured out. So Jaw Jackson, again, is getting hyped up this offseason. Take that however you want, but it does sound like there's some improvement in his game. He's a better player than what he was last year. That's what you always hope for any player, but it seems like the ceiling is super high for Jaw Jackson. Yeah. We just got to find it. We got to find our lane. We got to really break down everything and make sure that we're doing all the small things correctly as a guy that hasn't played a whole lot of football.
I think the best way to say what we know about this offensive line room right now is that the ceilings for a lot of the quote-unquote unknowns are extremely high. Daniel Calhoun has an extremely high ceiling. Jaw Jackson has an extremely high ceiling. Zakai Helton has an extremely high ceiling. And I don't know if he's on your list already, but there hasn't been a media availability or a player availability or a pro day we talked to the players after where Zakai Helton hasn't been mentioned at least once.
Yeah.
At that point, I think you have to kind of be like, all right, this is probably something here. Kirby Smart has mentioned, now he's been asked about him, but Kirby Smart has mentioned him. Defensive linemen have mentioned him. Older offensive linemen have mentioned him. Former players that were in pro day have mentioned, hey, that's a guy that I've heard a lot of good things about. Mm-hmm. So Zakai Helton is probably the only, I don't want to say surefire thing here, but he's gotten the most hype there.
Yeah, Vowden's been mentioned a little bit throughout the offseason, but when it comes to Zakai Helton, and I have it in my notes, I had a whole separate bullet point for him of Zakai Helton is continuously being mentioned. It seems like this is the true freshman that is just going to wow everybody. And it's not saying he's going to be the only one, but we heard similar things about Juan Gaston and Donnie Glover last offseason, where it was, these two guys are really good. These two guys are going to play for us. We don't know when, but they're going to be really good. Zakai Helton is the same thing. But going back to the offensive line discussion, the names that I have of who it seems like are going to be the core players on the offensive line this season, and this list could change, so don't take this as this is fact, so from now until the end of the season, these are the guys. Things can obviously change, but I would say behind the starters that I mentioned, it'd be Jaw Jackson, Zakai Helton, Daniel Calhoun, Michael Unai, and Cortez Smith. Now, it's Cortez Smith and / Malachi Tolliver, those two guys, because they're battling out who's going to be the backup center behind Drew. And it's a good opportunity because Drew Bobo is a veteran. Probably don't need to be expending too many reps with him. In fact, he's missing spring practice, correct?
Correct. He's still dealing with his ankle injury.
Correct. So Kirby Smart mentioned at the beginning of the spring. So they're getting a ton of reps between those two guys. But Cortez Smith, hearing good things about him, which is a good sign, was a freshman last year. So him and Malachi Tolliver kind of battling out right now, seeing who's going to be the second center. Graham Houston obviously is a guy that you can mention in this conversation as well. Maybe Ekene Ogboko, the true freshman, he's certainly in the mix as well, I would imagine, getting reps. But the names that I mentioned are the ones that I would say, today, if I had to pick a group of offensive linemen that went and traveled to an away game, those are probably the names that I would envision them taking.
I would agree with that.
So that's me talking, by the way. That's just me. So take that however you want. Now, we did find out, like you mentioned, that Jamarly Riddle is dealing with an injury, not really participating in spring practice. And so it was a question of, where's Jamarly Riddle going to play this season? Are they going to put him at safety? Are they going to put him at star? What are they going to do with him? So with him out of the conversation for now, at least, it kind of clears things up a little bit for who might be at that second safety spot, because I think that's where he would have played. I think he's going to be a safety for Georgia beside KJ Bolden. And so now we kind of get a better idea of like who are these guys that we need to pay attention to. And it's Khalil Barnes is obviously one of them.
Yep.
Khalil Barnes and Zion Branch are probably the two that I would say at the moment, because remember, Kyron Jones not available for spring either, still dealing with an injury. So I'd say probably your first two are Zion Branch and Khalil Barnes. Probably the first two guys in the mix. Maybe getting some Rayshawn Dinkins back there. Maybe they cross-train all the time. So I'd imagine that he's getting some reps back there. And then Todd Robinson as well. Like that would be your safety room at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like what you know most about this, and this isn't even a no, but obviously we know now that Jamali Riddle is not going to be available for the spring. I think that kind of gives you a good inclination of, hey, a lot will happen in the fall, but when you start this far behind on a Georgia roster that, by the way, you don't know the depth chart, I think back to Tyke Smith. Yeah. Tyke Smith was battling an injury. Now he got re-injured, obviously, unfortunately, but he still had such a way to go. Like on that 22 roster, he was not on the top of that depth chart. Like it was Tyke Smith after Javon Bullard, after Dan Jackson, after guys like that. So you got to crawl up. So maybe we don't buy as much stock in the 2026 for Jamali Riddle right now, which is unfortunate because I was excited to see him play.
Still has multiple seasons left, by the way, and also it's important to remind you guys, like, if this were to be the case, like if it does end up being one of these situations with his injury, you get 9 games, and then you can redshirt. So there's nothing to worry about there of him losing a year or anything like that. Like, they're good. You're going to get Jamali Riddle, and you're going to get plenty of him. He's going to be a really good football player. When you get to see him for the first time, I don't know. We'll have to see about that one. But if you had to make me pick today, it'd probably be KJ Bolden, Zion Branch to start. That seems to be how Georgia always deals with these types of things of the guy that's been here now. I know Zion was a transfer too, but this is his second year. This is Khalil's first. It'd probably be KJ and Zion, and then Khalil quickly out there, though. I'm not saying that Khalil Barnes is going to have to be waiting and sitting for playing time. I think they're going to play both of them. I think they're going to rotate them, and I think they're going to get quite a few guys out there. Gunner injury. Lots of reps for Puglisi. We mentioned it a little bit when you were running down Kirby Smart's press conference notes, but this is, I wouldn't say best case scenario, but this isn't a bad scenario for Georgia to be in right now.
No, not at all. Like, and again, you want Gunner Stockton to get as many reps as possible because there are certainly areas where Gunner Stockton needs to improve. There's no denying that. I don't think that I think we've mentioned that enough times. But there's also areas where, hey, Gunner Stockton's not going to be on the roster next season. That's a given at this point. We need to make sure that whatever happens, that we've given whoever it is as many opportunities to be as successful as they can be. It seems like, and history would indicate, that it's Ryan Puglisi right now. Mm-hmm. So we need to give Ryan Puglisi as much opportunities as he can. So,
and not only that, but since Gunner's dealing with an injury, this isn't even opportunities for Puglisi to go out there and take the ones reps, but I would imagine, too, this is opportunities for Puglisi to go out there and treat practice as if he is a starter. Like, I'm in this situation where I'm the guy right now. We'll run practice that way, run the offense that way, because Gunner's on the side right now rehabbing his injury, so it feels like Ryan Puglisi is the guy. So the reps are great. The situations that he's being put in is great for him. Hopefully Georgia is getting a good confirmation on Puglisi of, all right, things are tracking along right now. He's where he needs to be. We're seeing the improvement. This guy is tracking to be the start of the next season. Or you're getting the answer of, all right, might need to open it up a little bit next year, might need to explore our options a little bit. Ultimately, though, I don't think you get that answer until you see Puglisi playing games this fall, and you won't have an affirmative answer on him until the end of the season anyways. But always good to know what you have in your backup quarterback, and especially for a guy like Puglisi, where it's always seemed like been the plan where he's going to be your starter one day. And then the final note that I have, and you can take this as a good thing or a bad thing, things have been intentionally quiet with the wide receiver room. Yeah. We found out today that we didn't find out today, but Isaiah Canyon dealing with an injury right now, working his way back. He'll get back when he's ready. But not a whole lot of buzz, not a whole lot being even in press conferences, and that's why I said intentionally. They're just not being talked about.
And I always like to gauge things based on what you were hearing last year and what we know now. What we know now is that Colby Young and Zachariah Branch were the dudes in that room. And there was a lot of solid talent behind it, but Colby Young and Zachariah Branch were the dudes. What was it we heard all last season about those two guys? Colby Young's a great leader. Zachariah Branch is a hard worker. You didn't really hear much of, my God, Zachariah Branch is going to be hard to tackle this season.
Mm-hmm.
Colby Young's going to have a fantastic year. Now, those projections were made just based on that and then based on hope alone, but you never heard someone come in front of a microphone and go, man, those two guys are just balling in practice right now. I think things are intentionally kept quiet.
Oh,
because
sure.
we obviously, now, Colby Young didn't have the season we all thought he should have had because injury robbed him of that, but Colby and Zachariah were the dudes all season long. Mm-hmm. And that was probably known to come practice. Like, it was probably pretty evident by the time those two guys were on the field, like, hey, these guys are going to be really good.
And, like, too, there's so many names in there that you're really trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out your depth chart. Like, if the wide receiver room were to be mentioned right now, it probably would be about London Humphreys, if I had to guess. Like, you just speak about the known commodity in the room. Let's not talk about the younger guys that are working their way and trying to earn their playing time right now. We'll just keep it with, hey, yeah, London Humphreys doing his job out there. Like, it's just been intentionally quiet. And, you know, that could be a good thing, a bad thing. I think it's not anything to be concerned about just because we know the talent that's in the room. And even if you did hear great things about the wide receiver room right now, you still would have this same feeling that you probably do about the wide receiver room now until the season anyways of like, yeah, it looks good now, but I won't feel good about it until I see it. So even if we did have a whole lot of praise to give you right now about Talon Taylor, C.J. Wiley, any of those guys, it wouldn't mean a whole lot to you probably anyways. But the good thing is that since Isaiah Canyon is kind of dealing with an injury right now, C.J. Wiley, all those guys, they're really getting to cut it wide open at practice, and they're getting a lot of reps. They're getting their development is being addressed at the moment, so that's a good thing. So those are all the things that I would say I know for a fact right now about Georgia's football team.
I think those are all very, very solid. You don't know much this time of year.
Yeah.
You don't know virtually anything. Kirby Smart will tell you guys never know anything. So, I mean, it makes sense.
These are the things that only matter to us anyways, okay? So we'll just leave it at that.
All right, we're sorry about that, Coach Smart. Please don't.
Again, yeah, we're sorry. I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
I'm just being funny.
Bro,
it wasn't funny, though.
I don't need him walking up to the podium and just side-eyeing me from now on.
Well, he did it today. He already has something against you. What'd you do?
He didn't side-eye me.
He spoke directly to you, Christian.
I asked him the question. He was looking at me and answering the question. Now, it did feel personal. He was like, that's what you all want to do. I was like, dude, whoa.
You know what it is? He saw the Diddy counter. He's like, this immature.
This the kid who's doing the damn Diddy counter.
You seen the crap that he's doing?
0 out of 100. What are the odds Kirby Smart knows about the Diddy counter?
Oh, 0. Maybe 2. I'll put it at like a 2% chance.
2% chance. I like that.
There's a slight chance he knows about it.
Probably has no idea that I made it.
Takes up no space in his brain, though. Like, it just, no, whatever. All right, you introduced this fun segment of who will fill the void for Georgia. Now, when you hear that, it sounds like, who's going to play wide receiver this year now that Zachariah Branch is gone? Who's going to play left tackle? Who's going, like, all these things. We did it a little differently to where we actually assigned the voids that were left by these players.
Yeah,
and you created a list. I really like this.
It's much more role-based than anything. Obviously, you need an X receiver. Obviously, like you said, positions are empty. But those players that the positions they had certain roles that they played within the offense. So, for example, I think this is the best void that we've talked about all. Who is the third down Cash Jones running back? Who is the wide receiver out of the backfield? Who's going to make the difference in that regard? We don't really know yet. From everything I've heard, they're kind of trying to find someone to do it by committee. And I think that might be what they're trying to get away from, because the knock on Cash Jones, I think, was that you became a very tendency-based team.
When he was on the field, you knew what was up probably.
And that is not to Cash Jones' fault. That's to the detriment that, hey, Cash Jones is really the only guy who can do what we're asking him to do right now. So when he's on the field, everyone goes, oh, just trying to get the back out of the backfield and receiving game. And they're either going to throw the ball, too, because he's really good. To the point where people are getting mad that Cash Jones is getting handoffs because he's been designated as, hey, this is the receiving back. So I think that this year they're going to try to fill that void with a bunch of guys, because if Nate Frazier's a threat out of the backfield, too, you can't cue off on that. You can't say, oh, number 3's in, they're definitely going to throw the ball. Or, Chauncey Bowens is in, they're going to throw the ball here. So I think that's how that's going to be addressed.
That's a good answer, and it's probably the best solution. And obviously that's ideal if you could have any of your running backs be your third down running back. But it would be super beneficial for what Georgia has in the room this year, because I think that Nate, Chauncey, and Dante all have different skill sets. I'd say that they have different strengths and they do things well. They're talented football players, but their strengths vary from one another, which is a good thing. That's kind of what you want in a running back room. But if you have the ability to throw all three of them out there on third down, or Jay Lamar or Dwight Phillips or whoever it is, that would be best case scenario, because then you really are keeping defenses on their heels, and third and longs don't become automatic. Like, they're automatic enough. Like, if it's third and long, you probably know what the offense is going to be trying to do anyways, but it does provide some ability to, again, keep the defense on their heels a little bit more. So I don't think this is really an answer that we'll get until after G-Day. I think once we kind of see these running backs in action, see how they're used, I think then you'll get a better idea of, like, okay, this is what these guys excel at. This is something that they'll be doing this year. Maybe not this guy.
For sure. Next one. Who is the 50-50 style receiver? Now, this is typically reserved for your X guy, and I would say that kind of to a degree Colby Young was this beforehand, before he got injured, which opened the door for Elias Williams to kind of be that.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors that Caden Prothro might have some specific X packages made for him. So I think this will also be kind of a wait and see till we find out. I think Elias Williams probably has the front running for, hey, we need 15 yards. Let's just see if number 10. Let's just throw it up to number 10, the famous James Franklin.
Yeah. Why don't you just throw it up?
But all right, we're gonna give this guy a chance to make a play.
You design these plays. That's the difference.
Correct.
Of, like, we are seeking, like, anytime we can get a 50-50 ball for this player, that is a win. Elias is a great answer because we've already seen him do it. Like, can C.J. Wiley do this? We don't know yet. He hasn't had the opportunity to really showcase that. Isaiah Canyon could be one of these guys. I don't know. Like, even Sokovia White-Helton. Like, I know that he's the slot receiver and he's known to be this jitterbug and really athletic, but he's got some long arms and he's got a built frame on him. So I don't think he can just be labeled as he's a slot guy, he's the yak guy, he's a short route guy. I think that you could see some contested catches from Sokovia this season. So maybe he slides into a role like that as well. This
one feels like a fairly easy answer to some degree because we got an answer due to injury last season. Jonell Aguero was a star for the majority of last year. Rayshawn Dinkins filled that position as a freshman and seemed to do it very well. I would assume that your star position, your slot defender, is going to get filled by Rayshawn Dinkins. However, what if we started entertaining Georgia maybe going to a 4-3 a little more? Maybe saying, all right, we need Justin Williams, Chris Cole, and Raylan Wilson on the field instead of a fifth defensive back. Like, that slot void could be filled by a linebacker this season. Now, obviously, Georgia's multiple enough, and they run a 4-2-5 to the point where you're probably going to get a lot of defensive stars at the slot position, but don't be surprised if you see a 4-3.
That's an interesting point to make. I mean, yeah, the answer is Rayshawn Dinkins. Now, the real question of that is, how involved is a guy like Gentry Williams, the Oklahoma transfer, who they seem to be really high on? They think he's going to be a good football player, and I think that he would really thrive well potentially in that. But he also could play corner. Just don't know where he's going to be placed on the roster at this very moment. But, I mean, Dink seems like the guy that's going to be your starter at star. At least that's what everything indicates or is pointing to right now.
Next question. Who will fill the void of blocking tight end? Now, every tight end blocks at the University of Georgia. Everyone, you have to be in line in both. Oscar Delp was kind of the enforcer, the example. We've heard Todd Harley say he's the best blocking tight end from a technicality standpoint that I've ever seen. Who's going to fill that void?
Elias could be this. That's just me saying that because he's the biggest one. I mean, he could end up being the best one. Lawson Lucky's not a bad blocker by any means. He's a really good one. So that also feels like a little bit of a layup answer. He's been doing it for the longest at this level in this conference. So he understands it more than anybody else does. So for this season, I probably would just go Lawson. I think he has the most ability to kind of be that. I just don't know how they're going to use these guys, you know?
Yeah. I think Jaden Riddell is a name that needs to get more respect.
You know what? That's a phenomenal answer. I think that might be the better answer. I think that's a better answer than Lawson Lucky. I think that he would be great at that.
Yeah, I think Lawson Lucky has shown that he is far more valuable as a wide receiver. Not that he's a bad blocker at all. There's no such thing as a bad blocker in Georgia's tight end room. But I think he is more efficient in the receiving game. So I think 23 is a guy that people are going to be surprised by how much he sees or excited by how much he sees the field.
That's a great answer. I think that's the answer, actually. I think that's the correct answer.
This is another one we've gotten a half answer on. Who are going to be your kick returners this year? We saw Sakovi
was the guy last year.
Field some punts.
When Zachariah wasn't.
Cash Jones was your opposite on kick returns.
Ooh, that's a good That's a good question.
I'm going to vote Landon Roldan.
Yeah. That's a good. He did that in high school, so he has experience doing it.
And he was in on the last play for the Sugar Bowl.
Yes, he was.
Don't have to relive that too much, but I think that's going to be your two guys where it's going to be Landon Roldan and Sakovi White-Helton on kick returns. Sakovi White-Helton will obviously be your punt returner.
Yeah, those are probably the options that I would go with. Trying to think of anybody that would. I don't know. Any of the new wide receivers? I don't know. No, I think those would be the guys.
All right, here's one that I kind of just am going to have fun with. Who is the Brock Bowers this year? Now, before we get too far.
We got another one?
Oh. I think when I say who is the Brock Bowers of this year, who is the screw it. We need this guy to take us to the promised land.
The offensive scapegoat.
We're going to rely on we just need this play we just need this player to make a play for us.
So last year it was Colby Young and Zachariah Branch.
I would say it was more Zachariah.
I mean, the dude had 81 receptions. The next highest on the team was 26. So it was definitely Zachariah. But hey, we need a big play. Who is going to make it? Okay, well, let me find number one. So last year was Zachariah Branch. Who is that this year? It could be Lawson. Because I don't know though. Could be Lawson.
Let me run something by you. What if they're in the backfield?
Nate
or Chauncey. What if we're at a point in the offense where these guys have developed so much in the receiving game as well where, hey, it's 3rd and 3, you know where the ball's going. Hey, it's 3rd and 5, you probably still know where the ball's going. Running back screens are something Mike Bobo utilized a hell of a lot when he had guys like Todd Gurley and others. I'm just saying, what if we really need you to make a play for us is in the backfield this year? Because, look, when you've got Brock Bowers on your team and you've got Zachariah Branch and you've got the Lad McConkeys, you don't really need to have, dynamic win-now running backs. I feel like the majority, or not the majority, but the experience and talent is certainly stronger than it's been in the running back room in a long time. They might be your guys this year.
Sakovi definitely has playmaking style to him.
For sure.
He's definitely one of those guys. And he's just a football player. He just understands football. He loves it. Every time I watch Sakovi, that's how I envision him. That's what I see in him when I watch him. Is that dude just loves it and he does everything to get that extra yard. So I could see Talon Taylor being this type of player. Mm-hmm. I could see Elias Williams becoming this. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You're just thinking of guys who could be automatic mismatches. You like the matchup that they have no matter what. Those are the types of guys that I'm thinking of. And Nate and Chauncey could provide that. They could be mismatches no matter what. But I would probably lean more on either Talon Taylor or Sakovi if I had to guess.
That's fair.
Because London's just a safety blanket. And that's different to me. He's not a scapegoat. He's just the safety blanket of all reliables over there.
Yeah.
We know London Humphreys. We know he's going to execute every time. We're good. If I have to look at him, I know he's going to be there. Mm-hmm. I know he's going to be in the spot.
All right, the final two voids that we need to be filled. And this one gets filled by multiple players because it's a big unit. Who's the veteran leader on defense? You got to think. There's no C.J. Allen here, 3-year starter. There's no Deion Everett, 3-year starter. There's no Kristen Miller, been a 2.5-year starter, been a major contributor there. Who's the veteran leader, the fire guy? Now, there's obviously some options here. K.J. Bolden has been will be a 3rd-year starter here. There's Raylan.
Yeah, and I think majority of people are going to say Raylan, but what I don't want to do is what ended up happening in 2024. And that's kind of the vibe I got from Raylan when he did his player availability of CJ was the leader in the room and now he's gone. You're the old head in the room. Now you're the leader. How does that feel? It's it's my time. I don't know if that is Raylan's thing, but I don't know anything about Raylan. But what I do know about KJ is he's a vocal guy.
Yep.
He is kind of this rah-rah guy. We kind of he seems like someone that people would look to and as he goes, we go. I would say probably more so KJ being that vocal leader more than anybody else.
I'm going to nominate DeMello Jones to take a massive
He got that dog
step.
in him too.
He's got the – I'm not going to do the thing, but he reminds me a little bit of another fiery corner that
he do got that dog in him.
played here not too long ago.
So it's not a bad shout. So I don't know.
And last, and arguably the most important one, the void that needs to be filled, who's going to be the hairs-on-fire offensive line guy? There's no doubt that Monroe Freeling was this last year, the point where Brooks talked about it, and he's right. The guy that you can point to on film and go, look how hard this guy's playing. We need to all play that way, and it motivates it by just showing through his actions on tape. Who's going to be that guy this year?
It's a great question. I don't know if I can answer it now. I don't know if I've seen it. Like, I think that there are guys on the offensive line where I could see them being this. Like, I mean, obviously, I think Donnie Glover has some of that in him. Like, I went and watched Donnie Glover when he was in high school, and I went and watched him at a mega camp at Grayson High School, and he has this in him. Like, he has that fire in him. He has the energy about him. That dude will talk that mess to anybody, and he doesn't bow down to anybody. So he has that in him, or I've seen that come out of him before. But I think it'd either be him, maybe Zakai Helton if he ends up getting entered into the mix.
That's who I want to nominate because you don't get all of this hype. And like we said, there hasn't been a media availability where his name hasn't popped up. You don't get all that as a true freshman unless you're playing like your hair is on fire, unless you are playing with that much talent.
For sure.
Just maybe.
He's not a bad nominee. Brooks has said it has to be Donnie. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it has to be one of them. It doesn't have to be any. There's not a certain player.
But you're right. Someone does need to take the torch from Monroe and say it's mine now. Someone needs to be that type of catalyst.
I'm the crazy one.
Yeah. I'm the maniac.
Well, that's all the voids that I have that currently need to be addressed.
Well, those voids were created by players leaving for the NFL draft. And so we're going to do a quick rundown of our ideal destinations for NFL prospects. Now, you nor myself are NFL gurus, I would say. We don't know these rosters up and down, but based on what we know about these players and what their strengths are and what we do know about how these NFL teams run, we went and listed where we think they would best fit in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think we should also release a strong disclaimer. This is not based on draft position.
This is not a draft projection.
Like if we say Monroe Freeling would be a great player on the Seattle Seahawks, saying Monroe's not going to fall to 32. Obviously not. But we feel like from a team standpoint, from a roster standpoint, that is where they would thrive the most. So that's where this segment is.
All right. So first on my list, Monroe Freeling. I have it as the Rams. I know that's chalk because a lot of people are projecting him to go there. But I do think he'd be a good fit there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great for – I mean, the Rams seem to have an interest in some Georgia guys, and they need an extra offensive lineman. I think he'd be a great fit there.
I think that Monroe Freeling is an excellent prospect who needs a year or two of kind of learning under a veteran to really be a solid, a generational tackle. He's got the talent to do so. I think he's a little raw around the edges. I think it would behoove him to be kind of the bridge piece for like an Atlanta Falcons. Go learn under Jake Matthews for a season or two. Jake Matthews is like a 12-year veteran.
Oh, yeah. Hasn't missed a game.
Exactly. So go, and when Jake Matthews ultimately hangs it up or you have an injury somewhere on that line, have a Monroe Freeling ready to say, all right, you're a year and a half in, we can plug you in. And it's not like he's one of these fifth-year, sixth-year guys. Like he's not going to be 30 by the time you're giving him his first starts. He's a young prospect by all accounts. So I think if the Falcons would be a good fit for Monroe.
I like that. I would love to see Monroe Freeling in a Falcons uniform next year. So I like that fit. CJ Allen.
So this is another one where just based on positional needs, this team just saw a legendary, probably Hall of Fame linebacker hang their cleats up, call it a career. Levante David just retired for the Bucs. I think C.J. Allen would be a very excellent, and he's mature
really
enough to
good
take
answer.
on that role. So the Bucs would be an ideal landing spot for C.J. Allen.
It's a really good answer. I like your answer a lot more than mine. I went with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I think that he'd be a really good fit in that defense. They haven't been as stout defensively as they have been in previous seasons. So I think that adding a good, strong middle linebacker into the mix would be a good solution to that. But You're right. The Buccaneers do have a need for a middle linebacker right now, and I think CJ would be great in that defense down there at Tampa Bay. Zachariah Branch. Now, I don't like this answer for where the state of the organization is in, but I think he would do a lot of good things in this offense. The Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniel, like the Miami Dolphins, I think could do really good things with a guy like him.
I would see that. Zachariah Branch, I think that the main concern people have coming into the league is that he doesn't have a decent enough route tree. He doesn't have enough, ability to separate. His catch radius is too small. You need to get him win now plays. You need to do that with a quarterback that necessarily is going to be kind of coming into their own and around an offense. I think Zachariah Branch would make an excellent Las Vegas Raider. And this is no bias of my own, although I would love to see him there. No, stop you.
No.
Let me explain this.
You've already tarnished 2 dogs. Don't do another. Dude. 1 dog.
No, dude. No, I think Zachariah Branch would thrive in an offense with a Fernando Mendoza, where a guy who might be still learning an NFL system to where you can, hitches, digs, slants, screens, very simple route tree that you need out of Zachariah Branch. Not that he can't run anything else, but the requirement, he can run those well.
Yeah, that's why I said the Dolphins, because they're depleted everywhere, but they got Malik Willis. So if you think your offensive line is going to be bad, what better weapon to have than a Zachariah Branch? And I think Jeff Hafley could do a good job, too, with using him and would know how to use him. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe they aren't as bad as I think as Chat's mentioning, but it does seem like it was like, all right, we got Malik Willis. We don't need anything else. We're good. We're just going to sign this quarterback to this contract and be like, yeah, let's go. Here we go. Oscar Delp.
Oscar Delp's an interesting one because he's kind of a do-everything guy. And when you have a do-everything tight end, like they fit virtually everywhere.
NFL draft people love Oscar Delp.
NFL draft people do
they have
love
fallen
Oscar
in
Delp.
love with Oscar Delp.
I think Oscar Delp would be a very nice 1-2 punch on the Browns with Harold Fannin.
And Todd Monken reuniting there?
Reunite with Todd Monken.
Okay.
Kind of a guy that... So I think that, again, when you have a do-everything tight end, they fit almost everywhere. Like, every NFL organization could use a solid, just does everything tight end. Can block, can be a threat out of the receiving. Like, it's hard to be like, oh, he would be a perfect fit in this one area. So I'm putting him on the Browns.
I put the Bengals. The Bengals don't have, seems like, anybody at tight end right now.
That's fair.
They already have 2 dogs blocking up front for them on the offensive line, and Dylan Fairchild and Amarius Mims. Why not add another one into the mix who really excels at that? I think for a position of need, and you could get a really good one on day 2, Oscar Delp is a really good answer for them. And then you got Joe Burrow. You got plenty of weapons in that offense. Like, I feel like he would be pretty heavily featured there.
Yeah.
Kristen Miller. You went selfish with Zachariah Branch. I'm going to go selfish here. The Falcons. They need an interior defensive lineman. I think that Kristen Miller is the perfect second-round pick because we don't have a first-round pick. He's the perfect second-round pick for the Atlanta Falcons. I think all you need is somebody that is stable, that's going to do their job, that is consistent. Kristen Miller brings that with him every single game.
I promise this is the last time I'm doing this.
You going to do it again?
Kristen Miller is a player who has a great personality. He is someone that would bring excitement to this organization. He is at a position of need. I think he would make a great Las Vegas Raider. That's the last one. Boo! That's the last one. And they need defensive linemen, dude. They need interior defensive linemen. He would be a fantastic pick.
I think it's no coincidence that the teams that we both root for need a defensive lineman right now, considering the history of these teams.
That's the last one, though. I promise. I'm not doing any other.
He was the only one for me. I wasn't selfish at all.
I gave you Monroe. You don't even have a first-round pick.
You gave me Monroe. I was like, no, Monroe, you can go here instead. It's okay.
Yeah, because you know you wouldn't get him because he's a first-rounder.
Facts. Dylan Bell. I think there's one obvious answer here, just because who people want to comp him to sometimes. But ultimately, when I thought of Dylan Bell, I need a guy I need an offensive mind on this staff that can put him in so many different situations and truly understand how to utilize his skill set to make him efficient in the league. For that reason, I said the 49ers or the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I also have the 49ers here. Here's another answer that I had, and I this just shows how not biased I'm being. Dylan Bell is a player where you can do weird shit with. And I mean that you can line him up in interesting formations. You can put him in the backfield. You can have him throw touchdowns. You can have him catch touchdowns. You can have him rush touchdowns. He is a do-everything guy, more so than a Deebo Samuel is. But he's a wide receiver at the core. He's kind of exactly what Andy Reid and the Chiefs would be looking for, in that you can do weird formations with him, you can do unique things, you can do trick plays, but he's also a very, very solid wide receiver who's, by the way, been trained to all these positions. He's played X, he's played Z, he's played slot. I think he's a perfect fit for the Kansas City Chiefs, as much as I would hate to see him in that jersey.
Yeah, that would be tough, but that's a really good option. I didn't even think about the Chiefs. And they got they brought back Eric Bieniemy, so you're kind of getting that not old school Kansas City Chiefs, but a few years back Kansas City Chiefs offense that you had, or that's what they're trying to do, at least it seems like. Colby Young, I just went simple replacement here. They have a need at X. This is a guy that you could take in the later rounds. Now, I know that you don't usually find your starting X receiver in the 5th round or wherever Colby Young's going to end up, but Tampa Bay Bucks, they need an X receiver. No more Mike Evans over there. Colby Young, a good X receiver in college when he was healthy.
Yeah, I'm also staying in the NFC South here. I think that you pair Colby Young up with a guy like Chris Olave, who is more of a Z body type. I think that could be a very, very interesting dynamic between him. And now, again, Colby Young would not be the star of that show. Colby Young would not be wide receiver one in that. But he would be a refreshing, we have an actual X body type for that can make big plays for us. And when Chris Olave ultimately gets a concussion, because he's consistently giving hospital balls. So,
Dalen Everett.
Dalen Everett's another interesting one, because there's so many leagues or so many teams in this league that could just use a solid, speedy corner.
I said Packers.
I went with the Steelers.
Oh, I like that one.
I think that he would make a very good Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that had a really solid defense this year, could be better. Now, Mike Tomlin no longer on that organization. They may not have the same love for Georgia players as they once did, but we'll see.
And they have a really good corner already in Porter, so you could just throw Dalen Everett beside him. I like that answer. Micah Morris, for whatever reason, there's no analysis in this one. Micah Morris just looks like he belongs in a Tennessee Titans jersey.
Interesting.
I think he just looks like he belongs there.
Here's what I think was going to happen. It's late Friday, early Saturday in the draft process. We're getting in the rounds 4 or 5. Howie Roseman looks over and he's like, wait a minute. We haven't taken a Georgia player yet? We need an offensive lineman. Give me the best.
See what this guy did at the Combine?
Yeah.
My God.
Give me Micah Morris from the Georgia Bulldogs. He's a Philadelphia Eagle.
It's a perfect
They're going to do one.
I didn't have the Eagles at all. That's shame on me.
They're going to do it for one of them.
Yeah, they will. All right, final name, because no shade to Cash Jones, but I just don't know if he's going to be drafted.
And it's not even that, what's the perfect...
I don't know what the fit is.
Right.
I think everybody could use someone like Cash.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs a receiving back. But so I don't know what the fit is.
I have no worries that he's going to be a NFL roster player this year.
Right. I think I saw where the Patriots met with him. So
yeah,
there you go. Even without Bill Belichick, they got a knack. They got a knack for him.
What's the knack? What do you mean?
Lunch pail guy. Works really hard.
First in the building, last out type guy.
Yeah.
No nonsense type guy.
All right, last name Noah Thomas. I went Texans.
Interesting.
I don't know.
So I view Noah Thomas as he's a home run hitter guy. If you get him the ball, no matter where you get in the ball, it's liable to go for a touchdown. But it's also, he's not going to be your center focus. I feel like Noah Thomas would pair very well with a Caleb Williams style offense where we're on the run, Caleb Williams is making things happen, and he finds Noah Thomas for a essentially just an oh shit throw, and he turns that into a 50-yard touchdown reception. That's kind of what I envision for Noah Thomas here. I don't think that he is a true NFL X body type. I don't think that he's going to be someone where you're consistently relying on him down and down. I do think there are games where you wake up and you look and go, Noah Thomas had 3 receptions for 120 yards today. What the hell happened? And you go back and watch the highlights, and it's Caleb Williams finding him on these types of plays. That's my vision for where Noah Thomas would be, and I think that's the perfect landing spot for him.
I like it. You definitely thought about it more than I did. I was just like, I don't know. Seems like a Texans guy. Sure. But that concludes our list, and I think that concludes today's show.
No. See, we told him we were not going to end the show at 9:55. So we have the bonus player that we can talk about. Brett Thorson, where's he landing?
Oh, gosh. Anybody? I know that today I saw on ESPN they have him as a number 1 punter, so he might get drafted. There's a good chance he gets drafted.
Here's my idea, and I'm being fully selfish now. I don't care. The ideal landing spot for Brett Thorson is the Atlanta Falcons because I want to be as available to interview that man as I can. He is one of my favorite Georgia players to interview, the most entertaining, and seeing him be inundated in the city of Atlanta and constantly being around that media would be so much damn fun. By the way, talked about firing up the podcast with Tate again.
Ooh, bring that back.
Now, I don't know how that would work if, he
certainly wouldn't be in studio
he's
anymore.
In Detroit and you're somewhere else. And
certainly couldn't be in studio anymore unless they get drafted. He gets drafted by the Lions.
And he said they'd have to change the name because they no longer have mullets. And
oh, yeah, Tate got a haircut.
He offered the name Two Losers in a Mic.
That's a very Brett name.
Classic Brett Thorson name. But no, I mean.
So for that reason, the Detroit Lions should draft Brett Thorson.
Wherever he goes, he's going to be the most beloved punter in the league.
I can't wait for these NFL fans who have no idea about Brett Thorson. Especially if he goes to one of these Midwest teams that don't really have a college football team that they follow, or like the Denver Broncos. If he goes to the Denver Broncos, it's going to be like, this Brett Thorson guy, all right, went to Georgia. I guess that's good. And they're going to be like, why is he now featured in every social media clip that we put out now? Why is he featured in everything?
Wait a minute. He's Australian?
And he's cool?
And he's funny? That first Brett Thorson edit when he's in the NFL. Dude, I'm getting excited.
It was like when Packers fans got introduced to Nas Stackhouse. And all of them were like, this guy's the best. Nas Stackhouse is one of my favorite players already. And it's like, yeah, it was so easy to see because he has that personality.
Which, by the way, Nas Stackhouse has dropped all media training that he learned at the University of Georgia. Whoa.
I know what video you're talking about.
If you don't know what video I'm talking about, just go to Twitter and search up Nas Stackhouse and see what he says about rival quarterback, granted, Caleb Williams. I mean, we saw NBA players get cut for worse. So,
it's facts. Yeah, he had a take about Caleb, and he gave him a little nickname.
That's got to be the team's nickname for him.
But yeah, obviously,
you don't just pull that out the hat and go, "This is his nickname." They call the Green Bay Packers
clearly
call
him that. Oh my gosh! All right, are we good now? You think?
Yes.
All right. I think we're good. We will see you guys on Thursday. We appreciate all of you guys who stick with us throughout these shows when Brooks isn't even here. We seriously do appreciate that. We'll see you guys on Thursday. We'll have some Discord Q&A, so if you want to be a part of that Q&A, you better go and sign up over there on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We'll see you on Thursday. Like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Please.